But it can't be, I can't do it like officially official. That's stupid.
No, it has to be something
Because being
stupid.
like, hey, thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for watching the podcast. Please like and subscribe to our videos. It would really help us out a lot. Thank you so much.
That's a good take.
I can't do that. No, I don't want to use that one.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. Recording in process. That just made Frankie want to puke, I think.
I don't know when this all started, but I mean, whenever we hop on these Cisco WebExes and we do these digital podcasts, this robotic voice tells us that we're now being recorded. It's a horrifying experience, and I don't like it one bit.
It has to be
Jeffrey Toobin.
Yeah, right? That has to be the Toobin rule or the Toobin law. Or...
It's got to be the Toobin rule, yeah. You have to let people know that you're recording, so if you don't whip your dick out and start jerking off.
This guy's twisted his whistle on a Zoom call.
He got a 1 year in the sin bin, and then he had to come on and explain in pretty good detail what he was doing and apologize for it.
Did he have to explain it, or did someone explain it to him?
Someone else, I think, explained it.
Yes, that's correct. And then he said, I'm sorry, I'm writing a check to whatever charity.
Yeah, and then he was back.
Yep.
I think that's fair. You think he should have gotten worse, better?
No, I think it's perfectly fair. I'm a big advocate for second chances when guys mess up like that. I mean, that guy didn't.
Wasn't sure what you were going to be an advocate for.
No,
right?
Jeffrey Toobin didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings when he thought he'd crank one out, and it was an unfortunate. He didn't understand the technology, and it was unfortunate for everyone that was there. But he served his time, and now he gets to come back.
Right, because I'm pretty sure it became clear that it was evident that he wasn't excited by a lot of people watching him. That wasn't it. He just forgot to turn the camera off.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Which, it's an interesting thing to think about that everyone else that was on that call, by statistical basis, they also do the same thing to themselves. He just was doing it because he messed up the technology. So when you really think about it that way, he gets in trouble for doing something everyone there does. He's just doing it in front of his computer with the camera facing him and other people being able to view it.
I think all four of us, if we forgot to turn our cameras off, we'd be in some trouble. All right?
And rightfully so. I mean, that's on you, and you're in trouble. I think as soon as you see that green light or whatever notifies you that your camera's on, you are in deep trouble. Even if it's just
in trouble.
Nobody's even on the Zoom and you just open it up and it's just the camera looking back at you. It's all bad. It's just...
I wouldn't even want people to watch me eat. Like, I would be self-conscious of myself eating. So anything else, like Frankie's saying, that go on at other hours in this apartment, I want to put my laptop like outside the door, outside the whole apartment into the hallway.
Ugh. Ooh. Anyways, yeah, they do a recording in process. It's got to be for liability. Protect yourself. Let them know that they're being recorded. So if you decide to kind of, spank your meat on camera, at least you've been warned that you're being recorded. Owen's Mixers. A little pivot. We're going to go a different direction here. Owen's Mixers. They're going to be all over the Ryder Cup. I learned that. We're going to be at the Ryder Cup as well, up in the Sheboygan, Wisconsin area, Whistling Straits.
Come find your Sheboy at Sheboygan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hell yeah.
I might throw up an Instagram story. Come find Sheboys in Sheboygan. I'm definitely putting that up when we're there.
Yeah, you're claiming that one? That's fair. Nobody will steal that one. I got to come up with something good. That's pretty solid. Anyways, Owen Mixer's also solid. They got the margarita mix, which if you're into margaritas that time of year, margs, people like margs. You pour that in with some tequila with your liquor of choice, really. Tequila is probably the most popular choice in that regard. But Owen's Mixers is great. You can go to Amazon. You get the next day shipping. Bring it right to your door. You go to owensmixers.com. Check out their store locator feature, very nice feature. Go pick that stuff up via retail, and it's great. They got the Barstool Transfusion Mix, which we like, perfect for the golf course, perfect for a little summer afternoon. It's still hot outside, even though it's past Labor Day now. Still summery, still warm, so enjoy yourself some summer cocktails. Make cucumber and lime. You can have a Paloma with the grapefruit and lime. You get all kinds of good stuff. So big thanks to Owen's Mixers for supporting us. owensmixers.com, Amazon, Kroger, CVS, there are all kinds of good stores. They got Owen's Mixers. Lot to get to. Obviously, the Tour Championship, Patrick Cantlay, John Rahm. We got Solheim Cup, which has been electric all weekend. I would like to start with our schedule. So we got a couple of things coming up over the next few weeks. we'll be at Bandon Dunes very soon. I'm the only one here that's been to Bandon Dunes. I'm very curious, your guys, because this is going to be our third travel series of the year. I think this is going to be the fifth one that we've done. We did Pinehurst, Australia, Vegas, Forest Dunes / just Michigan. Now we're going to be doing Bandon Dunes. Curious, you fellas, if you guys have any preparation, expectations, thoughts? Are you going in blind? Are you scouring the website? How are the fellas handling this upcoming, sort of dream bucket list trip to Bandon Dunes?
I think preparation's an over. I mean, like, do you think we're preparing for Bandon? Do you think people are grinding?
Mentally. Oh, okay. I meant mentally.
Well, on this show a couple weeks ago, you guys put it in my head about walking. So I've been mentally preparing for that. Like, I mean, I've walked to and from work. I'm trying to get as many steps in as I can, but I'm also
preparing for the walking. Is so good.
It's actually mostly a mental preparation, because if I had gotten there when we're going there in about a week from now, and then I had found out that you guys were like, by the way, the walking is tough, like that would have been way worse than finding out a couple weeks ago and knowing once we start to play golf, that's what it's going to be. But outside of that, I'm doing little to no preparation. I'm not looking at any of it. I've done it both ways, where I'll look at every golf course. I'll try to find flyovers. I'll basically try to see as much of each golf course that we're going to play. But now I'm trying it the opposite way, where I'm just going to go, I'm going to see the golf course for the first time, and I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Yeah, I've looked up pictures because, it just, honestly, you can't go on social media, whether there's an ad popping up for Bandon Dunes or someone posting some sort of top golf destination. Like, you just see the pictures. It actually happened to me the other day where it was like, book a trip to Bandon, and it showed just like a hole on the water. I was like, holy fuck, like we're going to be there in a week. So I'm very excited. I'm really excited about the style of golf. For all the people that have been watching the travel series at Forest Dunes when we played the Loop, that style of golf to me really benefits my game. I think more than most people, because I don't have to get really cute and nippy with my wedges. I can putt from 50, 60 yards out.
You had some impressive putts. You were putting it. You were like ramping it around bunkers. You were using like I don't know what they call it, the centripetal force of like the edge of a bunker, and you were like moving the ball towards the hole. It was amazing what you were doing.
Tony Hawk. I went Tony Hawk and Shaun White on their ass. But I'm really excited. It's an absolute grind to get there, I'm assuming. Like I already looked at our flight itinerary, flying to Denver, hour layover, flying to Eugene.
Of course, that's the one part you've researched,
which
is
is
how
just
bad the travel's going to be.
Going to Eugene's like some guy's house.
World-class golf course.
Then it's like a 2-hour drive from there. So it's going to be a day, man. That Saturday is going to be a day.
The one thing you singled out was the misery of the travel out of this whole ordeal.
Well, I think that's like a big knock on Bandon, is that it's fucking hard to get to, especially for all the Northeast people. Like if you're like, it's a place that, not a knock, but it's a place that most people on my side of the world will never even think to go to, because it's so damn far and so hard. Like you look at all these resort websites, like top resorts in the U.S. or something like that, and like number 2's like in the top 5 is like this place in Hawaii. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just never gonna go to that one. Like that's impossible to get to, impossible to afford. And Bandon's like one of those places where you just never think that you're ever gonna get there. It's fucking far out, man.
It is from the East Coast. It's extremely. It's intimidating even to get to. Like you don't even want to plan it, because you're like, all right, that's not realistic. And I actually remember one of the guys from there showed me a list one time of their guests, and then a ranking of the most popular states that the guests are from, right? So like most, whatever. And it was actually pretty much in line with what you're saying. Like I was thinking New York's got to be up there because it's one of the most populated and golf's big in New York, whatever. And it was like Oregon, Washington, California were like 1, 2, 3 by far because of that reason, which again, I don't know, like being pretty glued into the golf world, golf travel, like we do, this is our job, that you hear Bandon so much that I thought just everybody goes there, and it's way more in line with what you're saying, where it's like, unless you're from around that area, you got to make a serious pilgrimage effort to get out there.
And I think we'll do a good enough job of showcasing just why people should make the pilgrimage. Like from what I'm seeing on these on these pictures, I don't know, like E-Bug's got to get, like, he's got to start, like, massaging the drone to be able to deal with these cliffs and the winds and just like all the visuals that we're going to have to try and take in. It's going to be a lot, man. Like these videos are going to be fucking heavy. These are going to be heavy visual videos.
Yeah, they're going to be incredible. Yeah. I mean, like the amount of drone footage is going to be out of this world.
And our tee times are like kind of late, right? Like, are they like we're gonna get like sunsets and stuff? Like, I feel like we're going at like good times.
We are. So we're gonna have great, fingers crossed. It's one of the better times of the year for weather. I've been hawking the weather and sending screenshots of the weather to you guys. So I get very excited. But the weather looks like it's foreplay golf weather, like high of low 60s. Quarter zip pants season, like really whatever you want. You could get away with shorts and short sleeve if you want. Maybe throw a quarter zip on later in the round, or if the
I think I want to wear a vest. Ooh, I think I want to wear a fucking vest,
dude. It's like options. You got options with the outfits, which is great. But yeah, I think we got 10:30, 11:20, 12:50, 12, and then 3 p.m. We play Bandon Dunes at 3 p.m., which is probably my favorite like sunset course I've ever seen, because the closing stretch is right along the cliffs and it just feels like you can reach out and touch the sun as it melts into the ocean. So yeah, we're gonna have some pretty picturesque stuff. It is high pressure for the drone operators, the camera operators, because it's overwhelming in that the visuals are so aplenty and they're there and they're robust and you feel a lot of pressure to capture them.
I mean, the one like video that I keep replaying in my head is just your brother's hole-in-one. I've seen that video just 1,000 times. So I think that tee box I'm most excited for of Bandon. It's just like, I mean, obviously I know your brother, so just standing on like almost those hollow grounds of like, this is where he got a hole-in-one. Like I want that. And I hope I don't cold shank one on that tee box, because I'm going to be like, it's possible here. Like I know it is. I've seen it just through video, and like I want one. And now I want to get mine.
Yeah, my brother has a video that he edited together himself on like, whatever comes with your phone or something, where it's like the photos that I took on the tee box and then the video of him walking his ball. It's like a 45-second video of him getting an ace. And anytime someone mentions a golf trip, he just responds with that video. So there's a few group texts that Lurch is on, I know, that my brother won't even say anything. He'll just send that video. So
Didn't you have it as a live photo? It wasn't an actual video that you took. I remember like you didn't have the video, and then you went back through your pictures and it was a live video of just the moment where it happens.
Yeah, as an act of the golf gods, like that video didn't exist. They created it afterwards because they were being very nice to us. Like there was no video footage whatsoever. I snapped a couple pics. We didn't know until a few weeks later. I think my brother was like transferring, and this was 4 or 5 years ago, and live photos, like people didn't really know as much about him or weren't as comfortable with him or whatever. He was like transferring shit to a new computer, an iPad or something. And as he transferred him, he saw that there was like a 2-second stamp on it instead of just a photo. And he clicked it. And he's like, I just have video of my reaction of me getting a hole-in-one now, where I just took a few pictures of the tee shot. So, yeah, we didn't know until 2 or 3 weeks later. But, yeah, he compiled all of that into a video, and he just sends it to people all the time, as he would. It's the 10th tee box on Pacific Dunes, which, again, is gorgeous, and it'll be fun to be back there. But yeah, Bandon. We're getting there soon. Travel show, visuals. I know we got like audio guys coming because it's going to be windy as fuck, at least some of the time. So yeah, it's a part of the world that I think outside of going to like Bandon Dunes, people like us would never ever find ourselves in Oregon. No offense to Oregon.
Is it Oregon or Oregon?
I kind of wish I said Oregon, but I naturally don't.
Yeah, I say
Oregon. What do locals say?
You're not going to get that answer from this group of non-locals here.
I want to say they say Oregon.
Has anyone ever been there?
No.
Well,
just me for going to Bandon, but that's it. I haven't been to like.
Right, of course.
And even then, you're mostly there with like everyone that you're with, and everyone that's visiting is people kind of doing what we're doing or from Washington.
We'll get a ton of responses now of people telling us how to say it correctly.
I'm going to say Oregon.
Oregon.
That's
Trail.
how you are going to choose to say it. That's how you say it naturally, right?
I think I say it naturally, Oregon.
I also do think when you say Oregon Trail, it seems more easy for whatever reason to say Oregon there. Right. Oregon Trail is like weird.
Oregon Trail is insane.
Yeah, Oregon Trail, you're like you're an idiot. I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
Oregon is that might be a Midwest thing because that's how I say it, and that's how Riggs says it.
I say Oregon.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know.
But Oregon Trail, I agree. That's the one where it's like, maybe it's just obviously Oregon because everybody knows Oregon Trail, and that's just the right way to say it.
Dude, I died in the mountains every time on the Oregon Trail. Like, I just would fucking die in the mountains.
I just could never get across those rivers.
Yeah, what was it?
My wagon wheel would always break in the river. And it's like, everybody's dead now. I'm like, great. I'm fucked.
You got to find those exits.
Yeah, it's tough.
Brutal. Oregon Trail. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
Trail.
I got a question for you. How many, like I know 14's the number. Does anyone care about that? Because I'm bringing 15 clubs. I'm bringing my 2-iron. I want to try that thing out there. And does anybody in this group truly care if you bring too many clubs?
We went on a trip once where I thought I had too many clubs. It turned out I had 12. I was like, I actually apologized to you guys. I'm like, I don't know what TaylorMade sent me. I got fucking clubs all over the place. And you started counting them. You're like, dude, I don't think you have your 7-iron or your 52 degree. And I was like, holy fuck.
Well, it looked like, because I walked over, I was like, dude, you got a lot of clubs. Like, it looked like you had a lot of woods. Because there was a lot of head covers. And then I just started like separating them. And usually when you separate the head covers, you see like the wealth of like irons and wedges. And there was just like, there was like one in one pocket and like only a couple in another. It was like, you don't even have close to enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to call you out on a club violation. What are you, nuts?
I think you bring the 2-iron. I'm excited to see you rip that 2-iron.
Me too. I kind of want to try to hit these kind of like low stingers and let them run and see if that works. I was actually at the range the other day. So I guess I was doing a little preparation.
I'm going to do the abbreviated follow-through a lot off the tee. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, see, that is preparation. You guys have been mentally prepared. Now we're starting to dig a little deeper.
Well, dude, like, I'm starting to realize that wind really affects the golf ball. Like
that's just a start for you? You're just starting to see it?
True. Like, but like, I don't know. You always feel it, and you're like, all right, yeah, like, let's see it. Like, let's see what happens, and like I'll aim right side of the green. But like, man, if you really hit one up there, like the other day, not to brag or anything, but I played Sabonic out on Long Island with Dave Portnoy. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. He texted me the morning of saying we were supposed to play Montauk Downs, which is just a public track out there all the way in Montauk. Which, I mean, not just a public track; it's a fantastic public track. And he goes, actually, we got invited to Sabonic. And I was like, yup, I'll be there. No problem. So we played out there. And, man, like the wind was kind of like, it was a beautiful day. It was like the first time on the golf course this year where the chill was just hitting you and you could wear a quarter zip and it was perfect. But the wind was definitely coming off the sound. And I was hitting the ball really well at times and really high. And you just watched this thing get absolutely beaten to death by the wind. And I remember just thinking, like, fuck, man, like, it really is a motherfucker. Like, when we go out to Bandon, it was such an eye-opening experience. I'm like, we're really going to be in one out there. Because this was maybe 15-mile-an-hour winds, 10 to 15-mile-an-hour winds. What are we expecting out in Oregon? 30-mile-an-hour winds?
I think you'll get days, absolutely, where we'll get a couple hours where you might get like 30, 30 or 40 miles.
Tropical storm.
Old McDonald and Sheep Ranch sit higher and more exposed than the other courses even. So there's like part of the reasoning I believe that they have no bunkers in Sheep Ranch, shout out to Trent, is because the sand would just get blown out of the bunkers. As preposterous as that sounds.
It's gonna be a problem.
So yeah, it's gonna be, you know, we might get days where it's a little calmer, but yeah, I've noticed sometimes I look too much into the wind, like almost the opposite of what you're saying, where I'm like, I try to hit shots that I shouldn't be trying to hit when it's like, in reality, I should just do math, right? Like if it's an 8-iron, but it's a 2-club win, just hit a 6-iron on that line and stop trying to hit like some cool back of my stance, fucking low draw, wind beat, right? Instead, I just like slice that one off to the right, short-sided and make double. And it's like, no, if you just did the math and you just fucking hit a 6-iron, you know, what's the worst? You miss it a little left or right instead of this monstrosity that I just created by trying to think I'm Tiger Woods, and I've got 11 different shots with each club. So the wind, bottom line, the wind can really fuck with you. I have to.
Right, yeah, I know that wind affects a golf ball, but it's probably the fifth thing that I'm worried about.
Yep.
When I'm approaching a golf ball and a shot and what I'm trying to do, it's fifth on the list of importance for me because I'm just trying to figure other things out. And like if it's blowing a little bit, I'll maybe like aim a little bit right or a little bit left, and that'll be it. It won't be. I do not let it affect me to the point where, like Riggs is saying, where I try to hit a different shot. I always try to hit the same shot. It's just, am I going to aim left? Am I going to aim right? Like if it's coming at me, that type of stuff. But it's not high on my list of importance, and that's probably going to fuck me at Bandon Dunes.
I'm expecting Bandon to play like a video game, which I've never really done on a golf course. Like when you play PGA Tour 2K21 and you see the wind coming in 20 miles an hour from like southeast or something, you're really affecting where you're putting that landing spot. Like you're way off the green and the right, and it's got to come all the way back. Like when I'm playing actual golf on a real golf course, I'm not thinking that the ball is being maneuvered that much and moved around by the wind. I'm just like, let's get a good swing on this thing. Let's hit it obviously on the right side. I could feel the wind coming, but like I'm not going to watch it actually turn. I think at Bandon we're going to see balls turning, and like we're going to have like really ride these fucking waves, which I'm really excited for.
Well, the other thing, you got to trust it, which is like the hardest thing. Yeah. What I think Riggs is saying is like branching, like just glossing over like, oh, there's a 2-club win. It's like, how do you know? You don't know if it's a 2-club win. It could be a 4-club win. It could be like not a club win. Like you just hit it and it kind of just goes and it's through, and now you're 40 yards over the green. And so that up
chipping
front,
downwind too, right, because you thought it was into the wheel. Like, oh fuck, we're in a bad spot here, boys.
Right. So that. Wind is bitch. Wind is a real, mother effer. It really makes it tough.
I always notice too, like the wind just affects my comfortability when I swing. Like I just am standing there and I like lose. Golf's all about confidence. We say that all the fucking time. We hear guys say that on tour all the time. What really changed? Oh, I just like feel a lot more confident in my game over the last couple of weeks. There's so many times when I'm standing over the ball and I know there's a lot of wind and I just lose like 30 or 40% of confidence that I did have, which wasn't a ton to begin with. And now you're standing there like, whoo boy. And then any miss hit just gets absolutely magnified, amplified 10 times with the wind. You put like, if you get a little left to right wind and you put some weak, like fucking dog shit twat swing on it with like bad left to right, and the wind just takes it so far right and so short, and you're like, yeah, I just deserve that. Like I stood there and I knew I wasn't going to do the thing right, and I just didn't, and now I'm looking at double or triple easily, and it's just, you just feel uncomfortable. I hate to when you could feel the wind like on your driver head on the way back, or something. You're just like, oh, we're in trouble, fellas.
Because I think if it's dead into you or dead down, obviously dead down's the best. I'm more okay with that, but when it's blowing cross breeze and your body turns into just like a fat sail and you can't get stable over the golf ball, I think that's my biggest, I'm not loving this wind. That's like hard on the back, hard on the chest where you can't really get stable. That's the worst wind in my eyes.
Dude, and it makes you look fatter than you even are because you're fucking...
The blow in, where you can see the belly button, it's a bad look.
I'm going to think more about what I wear than what it's going to do to my golf ball. Like, it's going to affect my fashion choices on this trip, the wind. Because when the wind pushes up like a quarter zip or a polo or whatever, it really is the most exposed you can possibly be.
Oh, yeah.
And it's bad. And there's the point of this is it's going to be on film. There's going to be cameras everywhere. So that made me more scared than anything, actually.
My barrel will be out to play for sure. Like there's going to be times where I'm just going to forget to try and tighten it up, and I'm going to walk up to, maybe you walk up to the pin or something to grab it, and the wind's going to be blowing it tight. And those screenshots live on forever. There are already a couple of them that get tweeted at me in rotation, and it is what it is. Like, we're on fucking film all the time. If I had a camera in your fucking face, let me say Ryan or Andrew, I'm just throwing out random names now. I know people that, there's got to be a couple of Ryan. Bethany, fucking assholes. If I had a camera in your face, you dumb assholes, you'd look probably bad in some spots too.
Yep. Yeah, everybody does. Everybody out there has looked really bad in a photo or two, and that's just...
Unless you're like Tyler Cameron or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
especially a screenshot, because a screenshot...
Whoa.
Ooh.
Somehow
Jake Bass might have just gotten... Jake Bass might have just gotten kicked out.
It said Lurch is the host now.
Yeah, watch
Can you hit record, Lurch? Yeah, I would say screenshots are even worse than bad photos. A screenshot is like you have no say whatsoever. A photo, in theory, Like, you were prepared for it to some degree. You could, like,
Yes.
angle yourself. A screenshot is just you going about your daily business, and anyone could grab any moment of that and just pick the worst one and just expose you. And so you're right. All you dumb assholes listening, remember that if we just followed you around all day while you're playing golf and just took screenshots of your video and how shitty you looked all day, we could all have a little laugh.
My biggest problem is that my belly button is further out forward than my chest. You know what I mean? That's my issue. So when I'm walking around, that is the focal point of what you're looking at. I go like this, like a ramp. I don't go down.
I'd rather have that traditional fat form than the man titties.
Yeah, milk titties.
Well, see, I got a little bit of both. I'm skinny, and then I've got these little milky tits that sit on this small frame, and then a barrel of a fucking stomach.
The parts that I don't like is I don't like what's that? I don't like when it spills out onto the sides a little bit.
I'd start doing a couple push-ups.
And the thing is I wear
that's going
dark
to
colors.
transform your body in the next week.
I'm hoping so. Just 50 push-ups a day here.
What if you tape them? What if you tape them for the show? Oh,
I guess we still have the local, so it doesn't matter.
We got the local. Jake
Bass.
A peek behind the curtain. Jake Bass is leaving and joining the podcast on like it's his job right now. I mean, it's been nonstop leaving and joining.
Dude, he's doing it like you're playing Halo 2 in like 2008 when the internet would just go in and out and somebody's joining the game and they're leaving the game.
Yeah, it's
really
insane.
Unbelievable. Where are you, Jake Bass? What's going on?
What's happening? Why are you getting booted?
All right.
He's not going to answer.
I guess he's not going to answer.
No, he's not.
Going back to the point, I will not be taping
how
my
rattled
titties.
Jake Bass is right now.
Yeah. I will not be taping my titties like I'm going like J-Lo in the award show. I just, at some point you just got to, at the end of the day, it's my fault because I haven't been working out.
I've thought about taping my nipples when we play these videos. I don't know. I just think that there's definitely some things out there that will stop that the crease around the nipple for me. Like when I'm walking around and the wind's blowing. I think if you
should we do anonymous testing after some of the rounds? He just keeps getting booted now. This is very distracting. I think he should just stay out of the show, basically.
I agree.
Somebody in the control room is out of control right
because
now.
we said at the beginning how annoying that voice is, and this is by far the most amount of times we've heard that voice.
This is a troll job by Jake Bass.
Yeah. I mean, Frankie, if you want to tape your nipples, you can do that.
Can the listeners hear when she says recording out of process or whatever she's saying?
So. I don't think so.
So it's going to be very confusing to them because they need to realize that in the middle of our fun, flowing conversation of us doing this podcast, we just have this lady that we began the show despising. The robot lady just keeps saying things. It's very distracting.
There's no denying this show is better when we're in studio, we're around human beings, when we're home and we're doing it via these fucking microphones and Jake Bass out of his house leaving and joining the podcast. It's really hard to get a flow. I'm trying to talk about my nipples, taping them, Bandon Dunes, the whole thing. We've now ruined that conversation because of technology, and I think we need to move on.
I don't want to go back to it.
No.
Cross Country Mortgage is much like us at Barstool. If you're ready to move on to a home, into a more adult phase of your life, the American dream they call it, right? The American dream, you get a home.
That's right. Cross
Country Mortgage is a people-first group of people. Rates are unbelievably low. Don't pay the bank more money than you need to. Again, that's right. Rates are very low. All-time lows, really. They may never get this low again. They could go up soon. Call today for a fast, free rate quote. Our partners will save you a lot of money. Call today. Our friends at Cross Country Mortgage will give you a free home valuation. That is a free home valuation just for calling. Just like the all-star athlete, Cross Country Mortgage pushes themselves through the entire lending process. If they get blocks, they figure out ways to get the ball over the line. Nice little sports metaphor there.
I've got something to say.
Okay.
I'm currently in the process with Cross Country Mortgage. So I am a customer now of Cross Country Mortgage. I'm in the process. And let me tell you something about these people at Cross Country Mortgage. I messaged them. I said, hey, I'm looking to move myself into a new home. That's what I want. I want to take this money that I have. I want to give it to somebody. And then I want to then have a house. And I'm talking to this guy, Chris, who works at Cross Country Mortgage. He's an originating branch manager. He's out of Boston, Massachusetts, I think, that area. I asked him a couple questions, right? You gotta upload all of this stuff. They need to know who you are, right? You gotta upload your personal information. You gotta upload bank accounts. Maybe you have stocks. Maybe you got like a 401k. All of this stuff. You need to show what are you worth? Like, what are you? They want to know about you, right? So I'm asking Chris, like, hey man, I'm having trouble logging into this. He doesn't just answer me at Cross Country Mortgage, right? He sent me a video from his desk. It's like a 2-minute video being like, hey, Frankie, just wanted you to like see my face. Like, I want you to be able to know that like I'm here to work with you. Here are the steps. And like things are popping up on the screen, where to go, what to hit. It was so personalized. It was so easy. It made me feel like, all right, now I'm working with a person. Because when you're uploading personal information, social security information, banking information, you're like, all right, what am I really doing here? This is insane. Like, now I know there's a guy in an office who like is a big Barstool fan that's sitting there, wants to talk to me about stuff. It was a very, very like calming and soothing experience, and something that I'm really stressed about and nervous about. So I cannot recommend it any more than, you just got to try it. You have to try these guys out. It's worth it just to get pre-approved and maybe see if you can get a different rate on your current loan.
You know how you try them out? You go to crosscountrymortgage.com/barstool to learn more about your future home buying experience or to refinance your current mortgage. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029. All loans are subject to underwriting approval. Check out www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Big thanks to Cross Country Mortgage, our good friends over there. We also have a Fore Man Scramble coming up in the next few weeks. We will be playing, speaking of Solheim Cup, the anchor, who's going off last for the United States of America in Monday singles here today, Danielle Kent. We got a 4-man scramble coming up against the People's Women's Golfer. We've had her on the show a handful of times. She's awesome. She's very funny. She doesn't give a fuck. She kind of says whatever's on her mind. She's a major championship winner. I believe it was right around a year ago she won back-to-back tournaments. So she gets it. She's phenomenal at golf. She's cool, and she's going to be, she's going to be a worthy opponent. I think we're going to Las Vegas, Nevada, which is where she resides and where she trains. She's a Butch Harmon student. We're all tight with Butch Harmon. He said that I have a very nice swing, if you recall that.
He said I had the highest potential.
He said I'm the best 24 handicap in the world.
I don't know if he said anything about me.
He wrote it when he signed his book that he gave to all of us. He put a little personalized note in the front of it.
That's right.
I don't know. I know what it said. I don't think I have it around here. But if you have that, Frankie, you have what Mr.
He said something about my wedges. I gotta go get that book.
How are your wedges, you think?
Oh, it's really bad.
Dude, that video we put out today, that was in the travel series from Forest Dunes of you going back and forth and then Lurch threw the ball and you tried to hit it while it was in air and then you hit it towards the water, didn't even hit the water. It's amazing that we're still here.
I know what is wrong. And it's not. So everyone's like, this guy gets taught by the best players in the world, the best teachers. How do you not figure it out? Bro, I have a mental illness. Are you just going to make fun of someone that has like a mental... I do. There's something wrong with my brain that when I step up to the ball in a in-round situation, I have something that comes over me that I can't do it. You ever hear Charles Barkley? You know who Charles Barkley is? That guy, you ever watch when he had the really bad yips and he couldn't get his swing? If you watch Charles Barkley during that time in his life, he was able to strike balls with his practice swings and on the range. Like if you watched him on the range, it was like, what's going on? Then he steps to the first tee and he's got this hitch in his swing. There's something going on with me, guys, that I don't know if it's like the pressure of it or I'm just thinking too much. The other day at Sabonic, I was there for an extra like hour or two just chipping around because like I ended up like Dave actually took my keys by accident back to Montauk. It was like a whole thing. So I waited at Sabonic, which was an amazing place to get left at. And I'm chipping around. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your asses. I was nipping wedges. I was taking full flop shots from 3 to 4 feet off of this chipping area and just landing them right in front of me. I was Phil Mickelson out there. I could do no wrong. If someone's walked up upon me and been like, look at this kid, he's fucking sick around the greens. I then, at one point, I said, all right, let's simulate a real experience here. I threw a ball down. I walked to my bag. I looked at it. I looked at the hole. I'm like, let's go. Like, you need to get it up and down. I shit you not. I took a divot that was like a foot long. It went onto the green. I had to walk up there, take all these little pieces of grass off, hope no one saw me. The ball dribbled off my foot. It was a nightmare. So there's something about when I know I need to do it and I don't have another ball after that at the range or the short range. There's something about that I don't know, guys. I just like don't have the confidence that I do on the practice range. It's a mental disorder. It really is.
I have no doubt that you have a mental disorder. That's not
no argument from the rest of the people.
Not a single
Crickets
argument.
there.
I do think it's shocking how long it's been. That's what's
I don't
amazing
want to hit my wedges like this anymore.
I don't think that you do either.
Here
I
is
think
the exposing of the mental issue.
4 straight years. Like I thought maybe you'd go through a fall, maybe a fall and all, maybe early spring you couldn't quite get it. It's been like the whole time I've known you as a human being. You haven't been able to get a chip onto the green. And like you're saying, I've watched you with kids hit chips one-handed, beautiful, a little coming up soft, landing, rolling out. I've seen you with Paige Sporadic, who's like got you chipping nice, and then you get on the course, man, and you're just one of the worst chippers in the history of the world, I would say. Yeah.
Dude, I'm playing with Dave, and it was my first time ever swinging a golf club in front of Dave Portnoy. And he, we have a job to talk about golf and play golf, and like I was pretty fucking nervous at this point. I'm playing Sabonic. It was like a very, very crazy experience. And, first hole, I absolutely drill a drive, guys. Like, it was fucking unreal. I almost drove the first green at Sabonic. It was nuts. Like, went up this hill, came back down. I had about 25 yards to get onto the screen for my second shot. And Dave just watches. I'm like, he was like, wow. Like, he actually said, wow, great shot, like, off the tee. I get up there and I blade one over the green. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, is that like kind of what everyone talks about right there? And I was like, yeah, it's like a little thing. Next hole, I do it again. I chunk it right to my feet. And he goes to me and he goes, so you're just like the worst ever. Right? Like at this point, like Dave like was playing really bad that he like couldn't get a ball onto the green. He looked at me and he's like, you're just the worst ever at that. Like he goes, at one point he goes, I don't know how you keep playing.
Yeah.
He's like, I would be infuriated because he was watching what I do. I was striping balls off the tee, hitting second shots onto the green, and when I missed it, I was no longer an athlete. I was no longer playing golf. I wasn't playing the same sport. And he's like, I don't know if I'd be able to do this all the time. Like, why do you keep playing? Just quit. He actually like asked me to quit. So
that's where we're at, everybody.
How was your round, Frankie? Did you finish up with a decent score there, or was it just a mess all the way through?
No, so yeah, I played really well on the back. Like it just like I was hitting the ball really, really well. I ended up shooting 87, which with the front was okay. Like I played all right on the front. But yeah, man, I those greens at Sabonic
they're crazy.
Half the time it's mini golf. Like, you have a 15-foot putt and you see the hills and the caddy's standing on this fucking hill. Something like Lurch would always try where you got to hit it all the way up by the sprinkler head. I'm like, dude, like, let's be real, right? Like, let's not do that. And then you do it and it ends up right next to the hole. And guys that don't listen to the caddies, they de-green. It's nuts. So, and it was a cool day, and I heard that they double rolled it right before we got there. So it was fucking fast, man. It was a hard golf course. But yeah, I played well.
What was your just general experience like for 4 hours playing around a golf with Dave, right? Because you guys kind of have like a work relationship. I mean, you guys definitely go on trips and go out and stuff. But like Dave doesn't play a ton of golf, so I'd just be curious what that was like.
Yeah, Dave he really surprises you sometimes with some of the shots he hits. Like at one point he hit like a 290-yard draw right off the tee right down the middle, and you're just like, holy fuck, this guy can really get it. Unfortunately that day, especially at that kind of golf course, he just didn't have it. Like he was getting the shanks and he was hitting them kind of sideways and it was a little frustrating at points. But Dave is definitely like, I can't see him like loving being out there for 4 hours, 5 hours on a golf course. Like his brain's always just like moving on to the next thing. So like he played 9 holes that day. He was a little tired and like just didn't want to wear himself out. So he's like, I don't know. I just there was some times where I looked over and like we're all putting out and he's just kind of standing there watching us, and I'm like, how badly does he just want to like walk to the next hole? Like he was watching us like read putts and like talk to the caddies, and he's kind of just standing there looking at us, and I'm like, well, Dave does not want to watch me do this right now. Like he almost made me not want to. Maybe not want to do.
I'll just pick up.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Yes. But you guys know what I mean, though. Like it was like that feeling of like, well, like why are we wasting this guy's time? He's worth $500 million. Like what are we doing out here? Why are we putting? It's like
he's watching you debate if it's left edge or outside left. With
at one point, under my breath, I'm like, you think it's a cup out? Cup out on the right? Like I was like whispering to the caddy, you think that's a cup out, right? So good.
Right, you just don't want to waste the guy's time who he clearly has a million other things that he could be doing, maybe should be doing. Like, that's just, you don't want him watching you try to figure out a putt. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying.
But, you know, we all have the same experience with Dave. Whenever you're with him, you know, he's obviously all of our bosses, and he's a scary dude when it comes to, like, working for him and messing up. I mean, we've all seen the emails sometimes that he'll send out to like content. He does it on fucking Barstool Radio. He rips people's throats out. And he's made a living off that. But when you're with him one-on-one, man, there's really no realer dude on the planet. I mean, he really just like, it's a very, very easy person to spend time with. Super nice. And yeah, I mean, I love being around him. When I'm obviously always going to have that nervous energy around Dave Portnoy because he's fucking Dave Portnoy. But, you know, after all these years, I mean, I consider him like, I would love to play golf with him if he loved it more. I just don't know.
Dude, his golf game is amazing in that when he's not kidding, when he has days when he doesn't have it, and then he has like, and that's what the whole Mulligan like takes were based on, was that we had seen him in Minnesota, and then he had put that video out where they played with Renner in somewhere in the Boston area, and he played horrible that day, and he's like, no, you guys just saw me on an off day. And then when he showed up for the Mulligan Challenge on the range, he hit like 5 shots, and they're all pretty much striped for someone of his skill level. And he was like, no, you're in trouble. Like, I have it today. And we were in trouble. Like, he shot 400 inch and it got from 7,600 yards or whatever it was. So he's very much hot or cold when it comes to his golf abilities.
And he knows that. He said it after that 9 holes at Sabonic, like, I'm glad I got this bad day out of the way because my next time out, I'm going to have a good day. And that good day was supposed to be on Tuesday. We're obviously going to talk about that. But he's very hot and cold. And when he's on, he's pretty damn good.
I will say we were driving in, and I was like, we drove into Sabonic, and it was my first time seeing it. And I was like, holy shit. And he's like, why are you saying holy shit right now? And like, he looked around, it was just like it was a golf course. And he like, the things he doesn't understand why I was so like,
You're excited. You're like
at
so
one point
excited.
I was like, we were on the tee box on I think the second hole. I'm like, look at this tree, dude. It was like a weeping willow tree, and you see the sound in the background. He goes, it's a tree. I was just like, fuck, I know. Like, I don't know. I just really like it like a lot. I don't know. I just love that tree.
Yeah, but there's no different than if you go to like the Rose Bowl and you're like, look, he'd be like, those are just like people sitting in seats. Like, why do you care? It's like, no, that's like what you like. You like, I don't know, this is what we like. This is what we do on this stupid show. We get excited about fucking trees.
Dude, we had a caddy there. His name was Big Al, and he did something that, I mean, I think Dave ended up getting all of his bad swings out, but like he gave Dave a swing tip on the driving range. And like Dave had really hit the ball well at East Hampton 2 weeks prior. And he's on the range. He hits a couple of good balls. His first 2 are like perfect 7-irons right down the middle. I'm like, here we go. We're about to have a good day. The Big Al comes over and just goes, why don't you move the ball more on your back foot? And I was like, what just happened? And Dave just went shank, 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 shank. And I was like, you got to try and get that out of your head. I don't know what just happened. I apologize. Like that, because we've said that on this show. Like sometimes like you just don't need, if you're not asking for help, don't give it. And that's not like an indictment on Big Al. He was a great caddy. The guy was very funny. Like everything about that experience that day was great. But like, man,
you don't give unsolicited advice.
You can't, especially to a guy that's about to play in a huge match. That like, and then Dave at one point was like, you know, like people like I've done the same thing my whole life on the golf course. Anyone saying something to me is not going to change it. But I still think in the back of his head, those first couple swings were like he was thinking about where the ball was in his stance, regardless of if he listened to it. You're still thinking. Then don't make us think on the golf course. If we're not asking for it, don't give it.
100%. If you're not going to a lesson or you're not like asking for, don't give advice at all. When did you play though, Frankie? It wasn't. I would love if like you were playing and then the Koepka news came out and Dave just walked off the golf course.
No, we were playing Friday, so it was
okay.
Yeah, it was the day before.
I could just see you like standing over a putt, him checking his phone, and you're like left edge, and then he just sees like Koepka like hurt his wrist, and he just a helicopter out of there.
I'll be honest, like he was leaving after 9. He's like, "Do you want to stay?" And that was a huge moment for me because I didn't know what to do. Like he's like, "I'm gonna probably go to the range and practice a little more, and then I'll leave." He's like, "What are you doing?" And I looked around, and I'm looking, and like the guy we were with was like, the back nine at Sabonic's like maybe one of the best on the planet, and I was like, oh man, like I've never done anything opposite of what Dave's ever said for me. I mean, it's been just yes man, whatever you need, I'm there. And I was like, Dave, I think I'm gonna stay. Never done that in my life. I'm like, I think I'm gonna fucking stay. And he goes, yeah, no problem. Like, have fun. And I was like, holy fuck. And I remember standing on the 10th tee at Sabonic being like, let's fucking go. let's
that's such a good feeling.
And I fucking striped it. Like on 10, I'm like, let's have a day, fellas. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like you're young and your parents just dropped you off at like the roller hockey rink or something.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, just have fun for a couple hours. You're like, oh, let's go.
Then I got brought back down to earth when he took my keys back to Montauk by accident. But that was me and him just whenever we go on these trips, there's something with these keys. I did that to him in Atlantic City. It was we were on a bad streak, I think, with giving keys to each other. Atlantic City, real quick. I don't know if this story, but if I ever told this on here, but I think I did because we were on the show when I had to drive back. Remember that?
Yeah,
I was recording foreplay.
I like when your misery gets retold. It's great.
Yeah.
We did a pizza. Dave had to be with Erica at some Penn meeting in Atlantic City. Penn had just acquired us. It was like very new. Dave was going down to meet all these shareholders and do this big meeting down in Atlantic City. His idea was we were going to drive down Atlantic City and do pizza reviews on the way down. So I rented a car, and I said, so he didn't need me in Atlantic City. He just needed me for the pizza reviews. So he was doing me a favor, saying, drive us halfway down to Atlantic City, and then take an Uber back from halfway point back to New York City. I'll drive the car from the last pizza place down to Atlantic City. So we do that. We go to the final pizza place. It's an amazing pizza place. I think it was Brooklyn something. This guy had just like found out he was like beating cancer. It was an amazing story. Pizza review fans probably remember it. And we're in the parking lot. It was cold that day, so we left the car running. Erica was sitting in the car. She was like on a phone call, so we left the car running while we did the pizza review. I was driving, so we park, leave the car running. Erica's in the car. I'm doing the pizza review. I call the Uber at the same time, so we nail the pizza review. It's over. I say bye to Dave. I hop in the Uber. Dave gets in the running car. He drives all the way to Atlantic City. I take the Uber all the way back to New York City. Turns out, once my phone dies on the way home in the Uber, I get back to the fucking office to record foreplay. And it's like 7 o'clock at this point. It was late. You guys waited for me in the office. Everyone at the office goes, Dave's been looking for you for the last half hour. What have you been doing? And I said, who has a gun with bullets in it? And I'll just shoot me right now, right between the eyeballs. Because I had no idea what that could possibly be. I just nailed the day. I called the Uber. I got the rental car. Everything was perfect. Turns out, the fucking keys were in my pocket, right? Like, you would never know because the car was running. But when I got out of the car, the keys were in my motherfucking pocket. So Dave drove all the way to fucking Atlantic City, parked the car in front of the airport, in front of the hotel, and they couldn't move the fucking thing. So I'm in New York City. So I had to then rent a new car at 8 p.m. and drive all the way down to Atlantic City, drop the keys off as the car's still rolling with the people at the front desk, and then just drive straight back to New York City. That was one of the worst nights of my life. There's no doubt about it. That feeling of driving to Atlantic City knowing I'm just turning right back around was tough.
And how long does it take to get to Atlantic City from New York?
It was about 2 hours each way, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not a great drive, though. It's like miserable. You just kind of like... You have to go inland, then you have to go dead east out to AC, and then back out to the highway and up. It's a shitty drive, and there's There's nothing to see on the whole drive down, especially at that hour. It's just bleak, and actually, it's Frankie. It's just complete darkness.
And normally in that situation, you're like, oh, I'm driving to Atlantic City. I'm going to go experience Atlantic City. You are touching. You're touching, and you're turning right back.
Yeah,
that's not the Atlantic City experience you want.
I will say, in classic Dave fashion, he offered me like a room and was like, if you want to stay here, like we're gonna like gamble and like whatever, like we're here for the night. I was just like, I don't deserve that. I gotta just get back. It was a long day, and yeah, so you know we're not on the best streak when it comes to dropping off keys and cars, but we get through it.
Aura provides digital security protection to keep your online finances, personal information, and tech safe from online threats. It's an all-in-one protection from identity theft, financial fraud, malware, scam sites, and so much more. Can't think of a collection of 4 people that are more vulnerable than this group right here. I think we're illiterate when it comes to digital stuff. We can't even figure out how to record a podcast without stop, go, snip, snap, snip, snap. Aura protects us. It's easy to set up. All plans come with $1 million in identity theft insurance. You kind
of said that like Dr. Evil, by the way. That $1 million.
I don't know that you cannot say it without sounding like Dr. Evil. When you like when you come across it in a.
When you if you just say $1 million, but when you say 1 million, it's hard to not sound like Dr. Evil.
I'll also say, too, it was written out in the actual numeric form, so it took, like, I'm scrolling across it, like, I have to think about and process how many dollars that actually is. So then in my head, I regurgitated it as, like, $1 million.
Yes.
In identity theft insurance to help recover your stolen funds and experience U.S.-based customer support that's got your back, or as a new type of security service that protects all your online information and devices with one very simple subscription. For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners up to 40% off plans when you visit aura.com/foreplay. That is aura.com/FOREPLAY. That's one word. Again, limited time, so hurry. Aura offering listeners up to 40% off your plans when you visit aura.com/foreplay. Protect yourself from all kinds of bad things that can occur. Tour Championship. Patrick Cantlay wins the FedEx Cup. He, of course, teed off 10 under par. I believe he was, 4 shots ahead of Jon Rahm at the beginning of the week. I think Rahm was like 6 under, somewhere around there. Came down to pretty much a 2-man race at the end. Rahm put the heat on him, but Patrick Cantlay, held tough. He likes to play well under pressure, clearly. He takes home $15 million, I believe. Again, $15 million. I believe Jon Rahm got $5 million. The payouts were like $385K for 30th place. And then Everby all the way up on the scale, made a ton of money. It's tough on Labor Day weekend, I got to say, to get that into, you got college football starts on Saturday. All the majors are done for the entire year. We're all looking forward to, like, the Ryder Cup. I said this last year, I think, too, that there's just not a ton of jazz, I don't feel like, for the Tour Championship, unless you got, like, what happened with Tiger Woods. There's that much money on the line. So, yeah, paying attention, seeing what's going to happen. But overall, especially when it finishes on a Sunday of a 3-day weekend, when you got Monday's the holiday, you're going to choose just sitting in and watching these guys play for a ton of money over either A, watching like the Solheim Cup, which has been awesome, or B, just being out by like a pool, maybe barbecuing, maybe being on a beach, maybe playing golf. I think it's a tough sell unless you're, again, got almost nothing else to do. All
right, so I watched the golf. I watched Cantlay.
No offense to you, Trey.
I do. That was a joke. But although I actually did watch it. I actually sat inside. I didn't go by a pool. I didn't watch anything else. I watched the final round. And it wasn't that exciting because, well, it was exciting. But the most exciting part of it is watching Cantlay get into that mode where he just won't miss anything except on 17 where he fucked that hole up. But, like, I don't know. Just watching this version of Cantlay, people have been talking about Cantlay forever. But watching this version of him where he actually does love the high-pressure shots, high-pressure moments, he just makes the putts that backbreak the other guy. When it's Jon Rahm, like Jon Rahm is watching Patrick Cantlay hit these shots and make these putts, that is just really, really fun to watch. And no, that's not a super exciting, like, cancel all your Sunday Labor Day plans to watch. But if you are watching it, watching this version of Patrick Cantlay just deny everybody who's making a run at him is incredibly, incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, he's got a way about his putting too, where I think we mentioned it last week, but like his putts go dead center, perfect speed. It feels like, and he like brushes them in. We talked about the Luke Donald, I think it was, with the tweet last week about like the long backstroke and like almost how he like decelerates through it. And he's just got that long, brushy kind of stroke where he just almost like drops it into the middle of the cup at perfect speed. So his ability to do that under pressure, you're right. I think it was at the 17th hole where he was kind of looked like he was in trouble. There could be a 3-shot swing or so. He ends up making a bogey out of it, and Rahm missed a birdie putt. And then they go to the last, and Rahm almost hits the flagstick on his second shot of the par 5, and Cantlay hits one to like 10 feet and locks the whole thing up, and Rahm misses. So he is, he's one of those guys I feel like who plays, like if he played every single hole of golf like it was the most intense pressure, he would play better. But it's almost like he needs that kind of pressure to really lock in and play his best, because he was nails. He made some huge putts and up and downs when he needed to against Bryson in that like 5 or 6 hole playoff last week. And then again, he kind of gets it done with all that money on the line. So he seems like someone, speaking of the Ryder Cup coming up, that, yeah, I think that guy's probably going to be pretty fucking good under serious pressure at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I think he's got to be. I think the golf on the aggregate, it was actually funny. We were watching it the other day. We were down at the beach and watching some of the golf, and we were talking about Cantlay, and my buddy compared him to an android. He's just like, he's not that exciting, but he just kind of like just goes through it as like, he's very robotic in the way that he kind of like goes through his round. And I get behind him because he just rocking putts in. And like last week when he beat Bryson, and Bryson was saying, hey, Patrick, stop walking. It was just like, well, I don't like that guy at all. So I'm like 100% on the Cantlay side for this round. And then watching him at Eastlake, I actually have a question to Riggs. My one question to you is, would you have preferred 2 champions? Because in this case, Rahm would have won, and then Cantlay would have won as well. And like that's just
absolutely
the stupidest thing of all time.
That would have been insane, dude.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
I absolutely would root for that. I think that's way better than this. Like, because now everyone's out there talking about how Jon Rahm was better this week at Eastlake. Like he beat him by like however many shots this week at Eastlake, but he like doesn't win. And then you're getting this Player of the Year discussion where everyone's like, well, Jon Rahm clearly had like he was like first in strokes gained, first in all these things, and Patrick Cantlay essentially like won 2 tournaments over Jon Rahm that he didn't win. Like Memorial, Rahm had a 6-shot lead on him going into Sunday, and Rahm like got and had to leave the tournament, which they was told. So Cantlay wins that, and then the last tournament of the year, Rahm literally defeated he like played the tournament in fewer shots than Patrick Cantlay, but like again, Cantlay's rewarded with the championship, and Rahm isn't. Like, you don't think that that's stupider than just being like, yeah, there's 2 different things going on, and Rahm won one of them and Cantlay won the other? Really?
It's a decent point about the Memorial. I mean, because if he wins the Memorial, he's just the champion. Like, he has more points than Cantlay, and I'm sure he's probably the champion. I don't know the math on that, but I would assume
it's got to be pretty fucking close.
It's got to be pretty close because he might have not been the top guy going into last week, but it might have upped his status. Like, is he 8 under now? Like, would he pipe somebody else down because of that win? That's an interesting point. However, to say that we're in a better place if we have 2 champions leaving this last week is the stupidest argument of all time. That is dumb beyond belief.
I think you arguing that Patrick Cantlay is deserving of all of the championships this weekend, which he's the only one that won this weekend,
no.
is stupider than that.
Not what I'm saying. I'm saying
yes, it is. That's the only other thing you could be saying.
No, my argument is having one champion, having one. I'm not saying Cantlay. I'm just saying having one champion at the end of the year, this last tournament, is way better than having 2.
Which is what
and
you
both
have.
of those
so
guys
this is
walking up to the
way.
18th, being like, we're both champions, maybe is the stupidest, funniest photo of all time if they were just like, we're champions.
That's exactly what happened when Tiger won. There were 2 different champions. You think that was stupid? That was like the most iconic PGA Tour clip in the history of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, but not because it's 2 winners, just because it's
okay, but you wouldn't
Tiger
even have had that
down
option.
like Moses.
Nobody was talking about that being like, how stupid is this that there's 2 winners? Not one person said that.
I think that's more indicative of like the Tiger effect and how people are more focused on Tiger than anything else.
Also, that was the
Okay,
normal.
but I'm saying
that's what
like
we were used to.
Right. So why was it such a weird thing? That's like what we were used to. Two people what?
I don't know. It's just I just like one winner of the tour. I like one winner. It's like it's just pleasing. It's more satisfying. It's like that's the winner. You don't have to have these discussions about who won this and who won that. There's just one winner of the Tour Championship. He won the FedEx. That's it. What I want to talk about is this guy who was tweeting at us, this guy Steve Tamagni on Twitter, who was handwriting down all of the aggregate scores if they would have started from the beginning of the playoffs. And I'm not sure on my math here, but I think they would have tied Patrick Cantlay and Jon Rahm because after round two, Patrick Cantlay and Jon Rahm were both 46 under par in the playoffs, and then Patrick Cantlay beat Rahm on round 3 by 1, and then Jon Rahm beat Patrick Cantlay by 1 in round 4, so they both would have finished with the same score.
Listen,
I
so
love
like,
that guy.
Listen, I like a listen. No, I'll listen to Trent. He gave a good. Now listen.
Why don't we just do that aggregate, man? Start at week 1, finish at week 4. It's over, man. That's
I like
awesome
the aggregate
shit.
idea a lot. I really do.
And it was like pretty damn close. There were only a couple guys that benefited from this current format. If you looked at it, like I think Jordan Spieth would have been like 3 under as opposed to like where he really was. He was in like 10th place as opposed to he would have been in 27th place. So like there were a couple guys that really benefited from the current format as opposed to if they were to start like Morikawa. Like Morikawa would have been like dead last because he played horrible at Liberty National and then the BMW. He was like even after 8 rounds of golf. So like that guy really would have not played well, but because he banked so many points, he's still in the top 30. You know, yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
Would you still give out like? Would you do 2 winners at each tournament then, or because the only reason I would say they would never do that is because then they lose all ratings because there's no drama on Sunday. Like no one there's no closure to the event on Sunday.
See,
except
think
for the finale.
That's a good counterpoint.
I don't
That's
like
the point we didn't bring up.
See, like, it's not really too... Yeah, it's not... I think you could still award a winner for each tournament because you're not, like, awarding 2 people on the green each time. Like, one guy won the tournament, but then, like, in this overall playoffs, this guy's just... This guy, like, he's not, like... He's not raising a trophy.
We should do.
He's not raising a trophy, though. It's just like, all right, like, this guy, like, got a bye for the next week because he played so well. It's not like, yeah, fucking... Bryson won this week, but Cantlay's still ahead of him because he played better the 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's not
because you would you wouldn't have 2. I guess like the first 2 events you would have 1 winner, but then you would have someone that's leading, and then at least like you could just do 1 winner.
Yes,
I like that. I could support that.
It's got to change to that. It has to. Who played the best over the playoffs? And that was that was Patrick Cantlay, and that was Jon Rahm. They were both fucking whatever they were under par. What was it, like 57 under or something like that? Nuts.
Yeah, but the thing about that, Frankie, is like if you go to the playoff argument, and I like that idea, but it's like if you sweep the first 3 rounds and then have like an okay Stanley Cup Finals, you lose. You know, so like this would allow you to sweep the first 3 rounds and play okay and still win.
Here was another thing that came up. I was DMing with some guy because he was like arguing with me about what it should be, and he said,
"I would love to see the transcript of those DMs."
He was like,
"Well, what shit?"
Well,
there's all caps by the end of it, all caps, exclamation points.
It would be first Frankie responding in a DM from a tweet that he got, being like, "What's up, motherfucker? What do you want to talk about?" But go ahead, Frankie. Sorry.
No, we went back and forth. I think this guy's name was Kenny Towns. I think I ended with saying, "I don't know, LOL." I think that's how it just ended because I didn't know how to answer his questions. He was like, "What if Bryson came out at Liberty National, or you know, someone comes out and shoots 27 under the first week, like fucking light, like does outrageous number, and then the next week misses the cut. Now they almost like benefit from like not being able to go over par in round 3 and 4.
Well, no, they don't do cuts in the second one.
Right. Okay.
There's no cut. They just like they eliminate people that don't get to a certain number, right? So like
right.
You just cut the bottom. What they essentially do is at the end of the 4 rounds, they just get rid of
Right.
X amount of people that are in the bottom.
Right.
Because the BMW, there's no cut, and the Tour Championship, there's no cut.
Right.
So it still works.
What do these DMs look like? Tell me.
No, they were nice. No, it was just no, they were honestly good.
They were nice.
It's
nice is tough to believe.
It's funny that we say
they weren't
that, like,
nice. It wasn't like you were like, oh yeah, good point there.
He just
Scott.
started us
now
saying,
let me
can't do-
also like say
It
what I
was.
think here. Yeah.
I think I wrote at one point I wrote, I kind of see what you're saying though. I wrote
That's
that.
amazing.
Like, yeah, we were like going back and forth nice.
It is funny that we're trying to decide what's easier to understand, 2 winners or 1 winner. And what it's done, it's really just makes us talk about how we want it to be something completely different. Like, we thought this was, all right, we don't totally agree with someone starting at 10 under, but, like, that's the easiest way for people to understand it. But what we're finding out is that, like, we actually still hate that, and we want to do something else. And I actually think that what we're coming up with is the right way to do it. I don't think they're ever going to do that, but this is certainly not the best way. I think it's better than 2 winners, but I don't think it's the best way.
You know what we were getting hung up on? Because we knew there was no cuts, but the guys getting cut from Liberty to the BMW, I think he was saying, this guy in my DMs was saying, like, well, if a guy like Bryson shoots 27 under the first week and then goes 10 over the second week, are you now going to remove him to advance to the Tour Championship because he played the worst that second day? But no, I think if you're doing cumulative score, it's just the best 30 scores then go to the Tour Championship. Like, you don't, it doesn't matter what he did in that second tournament as long as he's in the top 30 in his cumulative score. You're not looking at it. Yeah, that's what you have to do. Yes, that is what you have to do.
Dude, plus, I think it'd be really easy too, like week to week, to figure out who's gonna make the next week and who isn't. Because right now they do it by points, and it's like unless they tell you the points, nobody knows. Now it's just the fucking leaderboard. Like, you just know, and then there could even be a playoff. Like, imagine if you had 34 guys that were like tied at, you had 5 guys tied at like 11 under, and they're playing for X spots to make it to the next week, and it's like $385,000 is basically what they're playing for, because they would make it to the next week, and potentially $15 million if they make it to the next week on the number, and then they go really low. Like, that would be phenomenal on the second to last event.
All you have to do on the broadcast is have 2 numbers next to their scorecard.
Yeah,
right.
Just
kind of simple.
Really, it's just for that BMW where it gets confusing.
Points.
Get rid of
confuse
points.
people.
Nobody knows what the points are.
That's what we're saying. Points confuse people. Golf has a way of measuring how good you've been playing. It's one of the main parts of the sport. Let's
Like
just
shoot
use
bucks.
that.
Might as well call them shoot bucks. Like, the points aren't real. Like, what are we talking about?
We went from 1 point system to like a somewhat less confusing but still confusing point system.
And I hope my math is not wrong, but we would have seen a playoff at like whatever amount under par. It would have been electric. A 3-week cumulative amazing golf. These guys have been on top of their game for a month basically, and now it comes down to 1 hole. That would have been awesome, but instead we didn't get that.
And think about the last time we had like a playoff at East Lake. Like, Bill Haas was getting up and down from the lake. Like, it was, you get really cool stuff for a ton of money. Like, that'd be great.
All right.
The only time it gets messy is the BMW, where like you have like the score for that tournament, and then you have the cumulative score, like who wins that, and then who also advances. But it's really not that confusing. Just have 2 scoreboards.
It's not confusing at all, actually. I don't think so.
Right, because instead of putting on the right, what they used to do was put your ranking, what they currently do is they put your score to par for that tournament, and then they put your ranking in the FedEx Cup points, which is, nobody knows what those points mean. They're just abstract points. Whereas now you would just have like, Northern Trust minus 11, and then you would have FedEx Cup minus like 16, and that's just that's where you're at.
And self-admittedly, they think points are confusing too, because they got rid of them at Eastlake. So like, they just didn't get rid of them far enough into the prior tournaments. But they knew the feedback was these things are shoot bucks, which I love the comparison towards. And yeah,
just making shit up like based on what
has to go all the way back.
Like you had said a couple podcasts ago, Lurch, it's strange that like the 10 under is set in stone. Like, it doesn't matter. It's completely It's not arbitrary. It's right. Like then you wouldn't have to deal with that at all. Because you would have the cumulative score.
Right. Yeah. If you play your best golf in the world, win every tournament, you're still at 10 under going into East Lake. Second place is still 8 under, which is stupid. Like if you do that, then you're just 12 strokes in front and somebody's got to catch you.
You are what you are.
Right. Exactly. What's his name? Dennis. What the hell's that coach?
Dennis Green. We are who we thought they were.
Yes.
I'm like, we're getting to the point now, and we've workshopped this for the last 3 or 4 episodes, which I love, that now we just figured it out.
Right. They should pay to consult with us.
That's a great answer. It's just a great solution.
Who do we talk to get this in place next year? Because there's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of money on the line. You got $15 million to the winner. Patrick Cantlay, we're seeing all these numbers. Have you seen the fucking numbers of how much money this guy made this year? Have you seen the breakdown?
So
I know that he made $15 million yesterday.
Yeah, and his career earnings before this were $14.9, and he won $15 yesterday.
Let me read you off these numbers. Patrick Cantlay, 2021 season of golf. $22,638,805. Per event, $984,000. Per round, $305,000. Per shot, per swing, $4,401 for an entire year. Every time he struck a golf ball, he made $4,401.
That per event number, it was like 984. That's like he won every event that he played in, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
The $15 million really just
bumps it,
caps it up, right? And the per round, because he didn't make every cut, so that's not a fourth. That's like it becomes like a third of it.
Per hole being $17K is nuts.
I mean, per swing at $4,000, dude. I mean, start shanking golf balls over this place.
Yeah, just a fucking
might get to the green and take a driver and just smack it the other way.
Like that asshole that shot a 202 on the PGA Tour, like hitting the ball backwards, and came on our show and was like, "Oh, I actually tried to hit it straight. I just had a bad day."
I really think we need to like put together a presentation or some sort of packet or a deck. People talk about decks a lot.
Yeah, we could do a deck
of this idea, and then just send it out and put it out to the internet, and people be like, decide how you feel about this, because I think it's the answer.
It is the answer.
Genuinely.
When did deck become the new like PowerPoint? Isn't that pretty much what happened?
Dude. Fucking, it makes me want to puke.
I hate the word deck.
Hey, can you guys check out that deck we sent you earlier?
It's just, I guess PowerPoint to them sounded too elementary because it's like a program that comes with fucking elementary school kids' computers. But at the end of the day, that's all it is.
What percentage of your job is like involved in decks?
I mean, a decent point, especially like on the individual contributor sales level. They're in decks all day. Well, because your pitch is usually all around a deck, right? You do a discovery call, you learn information about what they're trying to do.
Oh my God.
If they've ever tried to solve that pain, how long they've been trying to solve that pain. Is it really an issue to their business? Okay,
the last 10 years of my life,
you dialed in here.
The last 10 years of my life have been committed to running away from terms just like that.
Right. And twice a week you get to see my face talk about decks and pinging and
all right, Tim, if you just pull up that deck we sent over last night, we're going to walk you through it step by step here, and we'll circle back if you have any questions.
The best is when, like, a senior level person will tell, like, a lower level person, like, oh, can you just pull up that deck, and you'll see their face, like, panic. Because it's like, oh, it's like Dave calling on you to do something where, like, you don't have the poise in that moment to be like, oh, no, it's right there. You're like, oh, my God, like, what?
Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it?
There's no denying that the majority of people in the world have to use this terminology, right? We are the outliers that we get to skate through life without ever having to deal with that. And someone that takes advantage of that, of the people that consume our content and that know that, is Erica with Token CEO. She's able to, like, actually talk to real business people. And one day they put out something. She was talking to somebody, and they were basically like teaching people how to respond to emails. And it really just boggled my mind that like so much thought has to go into like how you approach someone via email. Like they were saying, like, don't say sorry, say thank you for your patience. And like something as simple as that, like there's fucking like meetings and like there's decks being sent out on how to respond to emails and like have the higher ground.
Well, this is a world that Riggs was in. Lurch is currently in. I've been in it. Frank,
I did it for a year.
I did it for a year.
I did a cash lending company called like Go Accredited. I'm pretty sure it was like a sketchy business, but I I would like call up.
I'm pretty sure we were just a shitty, sketchy business.
Well, I don't know. Like somebody like asked if I wanted to work there. It was in an office in like Malvern, fucking New York, and I just like called businesses and asked them if they needed like cash advances and stuff. So like, I mean, it was kind of like, I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, it was a lot of like, I got decks sent to me about how to talk to people, how to cold call.
Yeah.
There's a lot of training around that. Like in, HubSpot, one of our buddies works at HubSpot, but they do a bunch of like inbound marketing and like cold calling and best practice. There's all sorts of statistics. I will say it's a little bit like the weather, because you just never know if like you're calling somebody that just like his wife's like, we're through. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
And then he's just pissed, and he's not going to be like, oh, you got 30 seconds. So
why don't you sell me on this here? Why don't you I'll pull up that fucking deck you emailed over earlier, huh?
But HubSpot does decks upon decks of like, if you respond with an email and finish with like best, I think it has like a 30% less response
two-story
rate
deck back there
that
they got.
Like more like really passive-aggressive thank you. It's like, it's all.
It really does make me realize how much of like a cotton candy gumdrop world like the blogosphere is. Like, obviously we're in these positions and we got here how we got here, whatever, but like I just haven't had to deal with that in a very, very, very long time.
It makes you want to like kiss Dave Portnoy on the lips.
Right.
It's like, I mean, like, the fact that he's created a world he calls them suits and losers, those people, you know what I mean? Like, we've completely removed ourselves from that world.
He would be horrified, but I would love to hug him every time I see him because of reasons like this.
It's always very funny to me to think about how strategically the business people at our company try to strategize for how to communicate to us, because they know that we have this hard outer shell that is built to resist them and not communicate with them in the way that they like to communicate. So they will hit us up.
And it's
hey, bro, like, I hope you're having a great time.
They also try to communicate with us on Slack, which is a platform that 99% of us refuse to get involved with. So they can't even contact us.
Like Slack knows when you're sleeping. Like Slack is scary as fuck. Like I don't like that Slack's always on, and like just text me. You know what I mean? That's
what I do.
Me
just text me. Mm-hmm. Just text me. I'm not going to respond to your. I'm unlikely to. I'll respond to your email, but like it just might take a while till I'm like sitting at a computer. I don't like to do email via phone a ton. It's just kind of like annoying. Just text me. Text is just like everything.
My email got ruined like 2 years ago when we did. I think it may have been 3 years ago. It got completely ruined and has never recovered from when we did these pizza review things. And Dave, basically Dave was on Nantucket and wanted to get recommendations on pizza places in the Cape Cod area, and then also wanted people to reach out to me to have them bring him a pizza on the ferry. And on one pizza review, no, it was like 2 pizza reviews in a row, we put up a graphic that said my email and to send all pizza recommendations to my email, and it's never recovered since then. I mean, just millions of people have my email. Millions. Like, it's nonstop every day. I get, you gotta try this. I have like 16,000 unread emails on my phone.
Maybe our first pitch in a deck will be to the FedEx Championship, where
put together a deck.
Let's put together a deck.
Lurch, this would be all the things that I hate about you would finally, you'd actually come into like play here. Like, make a fucking deck. And let's send it over to the people that need to get it, right? Like, we'll just email, like, is it like
we'll find somebody at PGA Tour and FedEx Cup, and we'll just
at google.com. Like,
we'll find it.
Well, I think, I'm happy to put together a deck. I think it would lose some of its authenticity from this group if you didn't have to put together like 2 slides, Frankie. Like, you're the opener. So Frankie Borelli opens it. He's got
fine. We can figure that out. But like, Frankie can't put together a deck. He can put together to you what you need to put into the deck.
What program do you use? Is there like a deck program? Like, what program?
I mean, PowerPoint's the deck program.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
See, I've nailed that on the head, that they just don't want to call it like PowerPoint anymore.
Right, because then there's like SharePoint, which is like the cloud hosting for PowerPoint. It's all nonsense.
Okay, all right.
Apple's got, what do they have?
Thought
iPages?
leader in the thought space.
All right. For any golfers out there trying to hit their next milestone, like our guy Trent, you need to try Trifecta Nutrition. Everybody knows golf takes time, and so does cooking. I took this time to just get away from that conversation the second that he said, like, pinch point or whatever the
Pinch
fuck
point.
that was.
Pinch point.
With Trifecta Nutrition, you can spend more time on the golf course practicing and less time in the kitchen cooking while still enjoying amazing and healthy meals. It's convenient. You save time rather than having to spend hours meal prepping every single week. There's science-backed nutrition. All Trifecta's meals follow scientific nutritional principles. Food quality is very, very, very much the priority of Trifecta Nutrition. Fresher food. We got farm to fork supply chain. Never frozen. You got organic produce, fully cooked food. No wasted time cooking or cleaning. Just heat and get healthy. And you get 40% off. You shop meal plans. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, at trifectanutrition.com. And you're going to get 40% off. Again, shop meal plans. Get 40% off with code FORE at trifectanutrition.com. I don't like cooking. I'm not capable of it. I don't want to have to Google or YouTube recipes and how to get all that. Go to the no, I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to have it. Convenient, healthy, delicious. They got chefs that whip this stuff up. Backed by science. I love science. 40% off, code FORE at trifectanutrition.com. Bryson De Chambeau. So Bryson last week put out he was in a Golf Channel interview, and he was pretty honest, which I liked, and he kind of spoke about the whole Brooksy thing and what's going on. Probably the part that stood out the most to people was he compared himself to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. I don't know if you guys saw this quote, but he went on and said, when you do things differently, you're going to get heat for it. I've gotten heat my entire life. If you look at people that do things differently, like Bezos and Elon Musk, they get a lot of heat as well. And so, again, I think it's a little unfair to kind of cloud his entire interview because I thought he was pretty honest about the whole thing with just the quote, but it's just another example the guy can't get out of his own way.
You're a golfer.
Of all the people,
you know what he did? He took what Rory said, which was very Rory-like and very professional and empathetic and everything you want with a Rory quote, where he said, Bryson's different. He does things differently, and that's just kind of, you have to accept him for how he is and the way he does things. And Bryson saw that and said, you know what? I am different. I'm different like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And it's
for the record,
dude.
The two richest people in the world are Jeff Bezos, $201.3 billion, and Elon Musk at $190.5 billion. So by the monetary system, which our whole world is based off of, they are the two most successful people on planet Earth.
You play golf for a living, dude. You're not fucking curing cancer. You're not sending us to space. You're not figuring out new forms of transportation and deliveries and whatever the fuck Bezos does. I mean, I don't know what that guy even does anymore. That guy's on another level. But, like, dude, yeah, you're smart. You're intelligent. But you play golf. There's such a ceiling for you, and it's like right above your dumb hat that you wear. It's like right there. You can't go any higher, man. Like, Bryson, you need a reality check, dude. You play golf for a living. Like, at the end of the day, it's like the most like coddled and like you're so lucky to play this like very rich and like protective sport in this, like you play golf for a living, dude. You're not changing the world. Even if you try and say you're like one length irons and stuff, or like a game-changing experience for people growing up. Like, it's golf. It's an activity that we play to get away from our lives. It's crazy. What are we talking about here? 100%. The guy drives me fucking nuts.
He just didn't need to say it.
But he thinks it, Trent.
But no, I know he thinks it.
He lives his life that way.
But he is, I know, and there's no changing him. He's going to say those things no matter how much is going on. Like what's going on right now in the Bryson Brooksy thing is people are now going to the Bryson side. Like, that's what's happening. It's the first time throughout this entire beef that people are finally being like, all right, like, let's lay off the guy. The PGA Tour is coming out and they're saying you're going to get, thrown into prison if you say Brooksy on a golf course. Players on tour are saying, all right, it's crazy out there. People are just going nuts. They don't need to be doing that. And then Bryson, with all this momentum on his side, says, I am similar to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Like, he just can't help himself. I don't know what to do.
You know how he changes the world? It's not saying things like this with his golf game and all that. He changed the world by what he did this week, and I'm going to give him credit here because I thought it was fucking awesome. Every birdie he made, he gave $1,000 to the Tunnel of the Tunnel of Towers Foundation, I think it was. But for the 9/11, like, he gave, I think, $38,000 to this charity. Like, that is how you're going to make an impact on the world. And I know that he does a lot of things like that. Like, that is the Bryson De Chambeau that I will stand for, clap for, and I'll be a big fan of. When he starts acting like the way of his thinking on the golf course and his mathematics and his fucking, the way he looks at the stars, it hits his fucking certain, he has a certain stroke to his putter because of the way the alignment of the stars are, whatever the fuck this guy goes on through his brain. That's not on the Bezos and Elon Musk level. Do not ever compare your strategy and your sport to guys that are actually changing the world with their thinking. It's insane.
He also, people don't dislike him, and there are a lot of people that dislike him now because he's different about the game of golf. People dislike him because he, like, bitches at a cameraman and says, like, you can always show me in a positive light, because he says in interviews things like comparing himself to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like, people dislike him because of those moments and the way he handles those things, and saying his driver sucks when, like, that's his go-to sponsor, who then has to come out and say he acts like an 8-year-old child. Like, those are the reasons that people dislike him. They don't dislike him because he uses single-length irons. I don't think anybody, like, hates him because of that. People don't hate him because, like, he changed his body and started hitting the ball a mile. I can see other guys on PGA Tour maybe disliking him for those reasons, because they're like, how about this guy who thinks he knows better? I could see that, but the average fan doesn't give a fuck. I think the average fan finds that stuff interesting. They find it intriguing. That's fine. But and even if you a little bit think like, oh, this guy thinks he knows better, you might be a little bit, like, suspicious of him, or like not. But I don't think you hate him for that reason. It's these other reasons that people despise him that he doesn't realize.
And to go back to my point from last week or 2 weeks ago, I have trouble separating. I really do think this guy has, like, he has no way of speaking to people. Like, he has no idea of how to communicate his thoughts. I just, like, this Bezos and Elon Musk line, to me, is somebody that just didn't know how to properly say what he wanted to say, and he comes off like an extremely big douchebag. But, like, if he had another chance at it, maybe he doesn't say it that way. You know what I mean? Like, I just think this guy's social cues and the way that he communicates with people is just completely off. And I get trapped into it. I fall into the trap all the time of hating him because of the things he says. And I try and wrangle myself back, being like, this guy can't help himself. I don't know that he can.
Lurch, any thoughts?
No, I was going to say, I mean, like, everybody was giving the facial expression of, like, who's going to speak. But, no, I think it's well documented he has no idea how to communicate with people. I think that's just, like, his biggest downfall in the world. And it's unfortunate because, like, he could be liked. Like, if he just had, and it's not a better PR group because, like, he has that try to shut him up, and he doesn't have the ability to, like, not talk with others. So, or not, like, he doesn't have any semblance of an understanding of how to communicate with others and be a regular person.
Like, he somehow took turning into the Incredible Hulk and hitting golf balls 500 miles and turned it into a loser thing to do.
Right, which was always kind of the cool thing to do, like, with buddies. It's like, how far can you hit it?
I think getting super jacked and hitting a ball super far, a la Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen as a kid. Like, that was must-see TV. And then Bryson tried to do something similar. I'm not saying he used the same products to do that, but he tried to do something similar, and everybody's like, I hate this.
But again, I think because it's, like, the way that he acts, not necessarily the things that he's doing. And this interview, right, this wasn't even chalked up to me as, like, he doesn't understand social cues and social interaction. Like, this was a pre-planned interview where he was sitting with a nice backdrop and he was asked questions that for weeks he knew he was going to be asked and could prepare the answer. Somebody didn't stop him walking from the driving range to the first tee being like, yo, like he's the president walking from the helicopter to the White House, and they like throw questions at him. And he was like, well, you know, it's kind of like Jeff. He was thinking about this specific answer for at least days, if not months.
But that is even more to the point of he can't help himself. He's like, this is the answer I want to give. I've had all the prep in the world, and this is the perfect answer.
Exactly. He was like, you know what I'm going to hit him with is like, because he genuinely thinks that about himself. And I think when you think that about yourself, unless you're fucking on that level, right? Unless like you're Bill Gates and that like, gives that answer, fine. That's fine. You're Bryson De Chambeau. Like, you're great at what you do. You're one of the best golfers on planet Earth. Absolutely. If he made a comment, he was like, you know, Justin Thomas, these guys go through this. Those are your peers. Very understandable. When you elevate yourself to, again, by the monetary system, the two most successful people on planet Earth, you come off like a giant douchebag.
And it also proves that he thinks he has disrupted or changed the course of golf in such a way that he compares himself to those two people. Because that's what he's doing. He's saying Jeff Bezos looked at a system, a delivery system, a product system, and he changed it to the point where it's now the gold standard. Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, they have changed space travel and transportation. Bryson thinks what he's done in the sport is the same thing, and I think we would all argue that it's just not the same.
I don't want you to get away with, you know, we all know how you feel about Elon, so I don't want this whole segment coming in and going out and you acting like you're a fanboy.
Well, I just know how people look at Elon. That's what I'm comparing it to.
How do you feel about Elon? Why don't you
Well, I will say in the past
here we go.
24 months, he's been beating me down. I mean, he's just winning. Because there was a stretch before that, nobody remembers it, where I was just making fun of him because what I would make fun of him for was he would make these he would say these grandiose ideas like, I'm going to fix traffic. He would say that. He would say something like that. And then people would congratulate him for the idea. And then even if he didn't execute it, people would forget at that point. But initially, the idea that he wouldn't follow through on, people would be like, smartest guy who ever fucking lived, baby. Love this guy. But I will say, the last couple of years, he's been on a pretty big hot streak.
Yeah, I think Tesla's like the #1 selling car in the world, and they do zero advertising.
I'm saying, I'm actually being objective. Because in the past, I do think he was making mistakes and getting he was getting praise for things that he eventually would not do. But now he's doing things and things are happening for him that are incredibly successful, and it's hard to knock the guy.
I think you hated the praise more than you hated the praise that Elon Musk got that you didn't necessarily think was warranted yet, more than you actually hated Elon Musk.
Like I could say that like I'm gonna cure cancer, and then people are like, hell yeah, that's a great idea, woo, love that. I get tons of praise for it, and then I'm not smart enough to do that. Unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that. But at that point, I've already gotten the praise for the idea. But he's been on a hot streak. I don't know what to tell you.
But did you not believe that he was genuinely trying to do those things? Because that's like a very admirable thing, being like, yeah, I'm really gonna try to like reinvest my millions and millions of dollars into like changing these good things for society. And you kind of came off like a hater of just like, boo. Like,
I think he got lost in the sauce at some point. I think he got lost.
When he threw that rock at the Tesla and the window broke.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a low moment.
Or when they were trying to rescue the kids from the cave, and he was like, I'm going to come up with a submarine that's going to get him out. And the people who were actually boots on the ground working towards doing it were like, stay out of our business. Do not come near this. We are working on it. We are going to make it happen. And he was still like, no, I'm still going to do it, even though the people who were working on it didn't want him to help them.
I have a question. We talked about sleeping for 22 years last episode. Mm-hmm. And I got into a couple talks about it this weekend. And now if we could come up with a pill where when you go to sleep, something happens to your body, right? The rest ignites something that rejuvenates you, right? Like something happens to your brain where it's now ready to go for the next day. Like your body is in like this rest mode. If we could come up with a pill that just did that and you wouldn't need sleep, would you guys want
Isn't that movie Limitless? Isn't that movie? Isn't that the whole premise?
Maybe. I've never seen it. But
I don't know what
I've
the
never
pill
seen
does.
it
It's a good
either.
movie.
I haven't seen it either.
I don't
Okay.
think that's. I don't know that that's the premise.
no,
of what
wasn't
the
that
pill-
to like didn't they say like your mind is only like 30% tapped in and this like
Yeah,
gets you
okay.
I thought it like
70% or something like that?
exactly like activated like 100% of your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
My question to you is, would you want a world in which you didn't sleep? So
I
now
see.
this is a world that everyone would go into now. So you know what sleep is. You're used to a life that essentially revolves around sleeping. The reason we only work 5 days a week is so that we could like rest on the weekends, and like the only reason we work 9 to 5 is so we can like go to sleep at night and rejuvenate ourselves. Like now all of a sudden we take these pills, and I think work and life goes on for 24 hours a day. Like you work morning shifts, night shifts. I don't think I take the pill. Even though I was mind blown and upset that we waste a third of our lives in bed, I think it makes the other 2/3 better because we don't have to work as much.
I wouldn't take the pill.
I wouldn't. Now, the thing that would be weird though is if like you were on the side that wasn't taking the pill and you knew like the rest of society was just moving, there would be feeling like you're not keeping up with the Joneses, like that kind of like. And I wouldn't like that at all. I
FOMO,
wouldn't.
yeah, a little FOMO.
Because to be clear, Frankie, people are going to take this pill. If this
Yes.
becomes a thing, I would say the majority of people are going to take that pill. And even if it's the minority of people that are going to take this pill, then people are going to see what Lurch is talking about, how they're getting way more done, they're getting to see more of the world, they just simply have more time than everyone else. It's going to eventually shift to a place where most people take the pill.
I think that
You think
ruins
people
the
would be-
world.
I think people would be depressed all the time because like so much of their life would be spent in darkness. Like,
Right.
isn't like in Alaska and stuff where like half the year it's dark for like 20 hours a day? There's an enormous depression during those times because like we need light and the sun. So now from fucking 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. every day, you're awake and it's just dark outside. You know how sad that would be?
I think it would ruin the world. I think like everything would get doubled, number one, right? Like pollution and everything that's happening would just double. We're like, we would have 2 jobs. We would like, it would never stop. I think you need sleep, not
Would you have
just for
to
your
eat
body.
6 meals a day now?
Right.
Like,
I think so.
Imagine
I think
how hungry you
consumption,
would be at fucking 3 a.m.
everything doubles.
That's a good point. How weird is sleep in general, though? Like you just lay down for 8 hours at a time. It's so
We essentially
I also-
die every night.
It is bizarre
like-
that that's a thing that our body needs. Like it seems excessive that our body's like, yeah, I need 8. It's like, well, there's only 24. Like, what do you mean 8 of them? Like you.
I
And then
agree
how
with
do
you.
we
Imagine
just
if you had to charge your phone for a third of the day to get the rest of the day
Useless.
out of it.
My phone is useless.
That would be ridiculous. You're like, no, like I charge it for an hour and it should be ready for like 2 days. That's like that would be ridiculous.
That pill thing is a good question.
I will say though, I'm a believer. If you had to ask me on a day-by-day basis, what is the single best like moment of the day, it is going to bed. Like I think getting in bed, like you have finished for the day, you're gonna lie there, you're gonna presumably throw something on TV that's like you enjoy, and you don't have to do anything. You're just in comfort. You're basically lying on a cloud that we've created, and you just have the next 8 or 9 or however many hours where you just have nothing to do except like consume with your brain turned off one of your favorite things for a half hour or 2 hours, however long it takes you to fall asleep, and then you just wake up and you feel good. I think that's like the best part
I
of the day.
enjoy that also, but I don't like the fact that for then 7 hours we're unconscious and wasting our lives. Like my body laying there, like the other night I just laid there in the wrong spot and I woke up with the stiffest neck of all time. I was literally yesterday turning like this. I couldn't move. And apparently it's because I had a fan on me. Have you guys ever heard this? If if you have a constant flow of air on one part of your like neck or your face, you will wake up with a stiff neck.
Well, it has to be cold air. But if it's like
cold.
Right, because like I remember going to school up in New England. Sometimes I would leave my window open, and there'd be like a breeze, and I would sleep, and I wake up, and I legit like you can't move your head back
Dude,
this
that
way. You're
happened to
just
me.
caught.
That fucking happened to me the other night, man. I woke up, I went, oh fuck. I was like walking around like this. I couldn't do anything. I'm like, what happened to me? And it was this damn fan that I put on. It was way too hot in my room. I needed something on me.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I remember it because you got to let your neck pretty much like warm up because you kind of like froze it in a sense. And I remember one day in college, man, I couldn't move my head like past this point. I could look at you, but I couldn't get it over here until maybe like the second class or something like that. Maybe not that long.
So my point is I would enjoy the feeling that you're describing, Riggs, and then I'd like to just wake up. Like I'd just like to then move on with my day.
No, because then I think you lose. Like if you lie down and you get ready for bed and you brush your teeth, then you're only laying there for like a half hour. That kind of ruins the whole point.
Maybe if we only needed like 2 hours of sleep. So then like you actually doze off, you sleep, and then you're like,
what are you going to do all night? What are you going to do all night?
Or how
that's
about
a good question.
you can choose when you take the pill. Like when you're on vacation, you take that pill because then you get as much out of vacation as you can get, and then when you get back to the real world, you resume your regular sleep cycles.
What is that? Just like cocaine? Is that?
Yes, I believe I just described cocaine. Pretty sure.
Yeah, because like,
Adderall and cocaine. I think those two things already exist.
if I could sleep like 5 or 6 hours a night, I would take that pill if I was fully rested. No question about it. But yeah, I would not take a pill that I just wasn't going to sleep. Because I agree with Riggs' point. It's like, I would start, imagine at like 8 p.m. when I guess you'd never be tired, but still
You're
you're
never
like,
tired.
But either way, at 8 p.m., you're like, now it's just dark for like 12 hours. And I guess I'll watch a couple movies.
Yeah, I think we evolve. I don't know. I think you'd evolve. You'd have nighttime things to do. There'd be a lot of nighttime things to do.
What's your first nighttime activity that just pops in your head?
To be honest, I'll be fully transparent. I pictured a billiards room and like ping pong and pool. I pictured like a bar with like, I saw a lot of pool tables. I don't know why. I don't even like pool that much.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to take this pill 100 years into the pill being invented. Because then by then people will have figured out what to do during the night.
Because now you're just describing like alcoholism, Frankie, where like there's a bar, you're just at a bar every night playing pool. Now you're drinking all the time, and it's just you're spending all money. How much are you gonna have to spend because you're at the bar all night for 11 hours straight? It's like,
right.
I don't know. It's
I need nighttime culture to have shifted towards the pill before I get involved with it.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Shady Rays. So Shady Rays never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, speaking about spending money. So they set out to change it. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company. They do things their own way, however they want, something that's very rare in the sunglass industry. Shady Rays are premium, polarized shades at a fraction of the price of the big-name brands. No need to overpay for sunglasses that don't hold up in the outdoors. They're going to get roughed up anyways. The craziest thing about Shady Rays is their warranty. We've spoken about this before. It is the best warranty in the game. Replacements, if shades are lost or broken for any reason, doesn't matter what happens. You could drop them in the lake. You could leave them on the golf course. Anything, they'll replace them. Shady Rays will replace them. Try that with your high-priced shades. See what happens. Probably won't be good. They still manage to make the quality with Shady Rays, even with that warranty that I can tell you holding in my hand, which I have a pair right here of the Shady Rays. By the way, these are ones that we're working on doing custom. If you guys can see the Barstool Golf in the corner there.
Oh, I can see that.
Very
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah, it's a little sample right here, but we're working
Really
on. So these things are great. Like I said, they're high quality. They're cool, and see, I look cool right now.
Yeah, you look
'cause I
cool.
got Shady Rays on. If it were bright outside, my eyes would be protected. Use the code 4 for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. That's a buy one, get one free. You get 2 pair for just $48. Use the code 4. You go to shadyrays.com, 50% off 2 or more pairs, 2 or more, so you get as many pairs as you want. 4, F-O-R-E, 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. That's shadyrays.com. Use the code 4. You get 50% off. Solheim Cup. So I think the way better golf, more interesting golf to watch throughout the weekend has been the Solheim Cup. Europe currently dominating the United States of America. We were down, I believe, 2 points coming into today when we're recording, which is Sunday singles. See if things panned out interestingly. It doesn't look like the U.S. is really going to even have much of a chance, so we figured we'd record. If something changes, we could obviously add to that. But Europe's up 9-7. They're winning in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches right now, I think, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches out of the current 12 that are on the golf course. And again, we're losing by 2.5 because Europe won the last one. So even though we're down 2 points, we got to win by at least half a point. Otherwise, we don't win the Solheim Cup. But either way, the greater takeaway is how cool it's been. I mean, you got Bubba Watson, by the way, has come off as like a hero. He's been running all around Inverness, which is an awesome golf course, down at Ross Golf Course in Toledo, Ohio. He's been running all around helping. We've had a lot of people kind of supporting the entire week, and the fan turnout has been off the charts. You've had some rookies, Jennifer Kupcho, who obviously won at Augusta a few years ago, the inaugural women's amateur. She's been a star on the rookie side, even though she's getting beat. I think she's 4 down through 12 right now to Leona Maguire, who's been a stud. But been awesome golf. People have been incredibly into it. Europe, this is, I'm not necessarily an expert in the history of the Solheim Cup, but I keep hearing over and over and over again from the coverage that this is like the strongest European team that they've ever had. And I think it shows because they're currently kicking the United States of America red, white, and blue ass right now.
How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel sad. I would like to see the United States team win. Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
really
that's
cool
a good
atmosphere.
question.
Really cool atmosphere. Made me feel jacked up for what the Ryder Cup's going to be. I thought the coverage was really good for this one. I mean, just that first tee is unreal. The fact that it's the first and the 10th tee is really cool.
Awesome.
They built a really big stadium. People going off at all times, and it's just constant chaos. I love it.
Yeah, I think that first 10th tee really makes you think that, like, golf courses can be so interesting without you even thinking about it. Like, never would I have thought that you could like mow the first and 10th holes together and they look that cool and play that interestingly and they create this theater. And like, even what that must look like on a normal Saturday when like you're on the back patio and you've got people on the first tee and the 10th tee, and it just creates a really cool environment that like I would always just think in a silo of like hole 1, hole 2, hole 3. And they've created this really cool thing. So I thought the golf course, again, like you just said, I thought the course has come off like a real winner this week.
Have you guys ever played a golf course that the first hole was a par 3?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What course, Frank?
I've never played one. No.
Why the question?
Well, I saw Matthew Fitzpatrick went back home to England, and he wrote that his first swing of the day was a hole-in-one. So I looked up the scorecard. Obviously, it was a par 3. And, yeah, that course that he was at in England was like a 235-yard par 3 to start it off. His first swing of the day went right into the hole. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I know, shout out Brock Nelson, an American hero, good guy, plays hard, loves the game, hopefully a future Olympian. But if he's not an Olympian, it's not like I'm going to root for Canada. What I want to tell you now is
you don't
that,
want to inflict change, then I can tell.
No, I don't. I just want to root for the United States of America.
Just a little loyalty to one's team. That's all, Riggs.
Yeah,
you're just a sheep that just follow them.
I love Brock. Want him to be an Olympian. I'll probably push hard for him to be an Olympian. But if he does not, at the end of the day, I'm still red, white, and blue, baby. Thank you for everyone that serves our country. The second thing I want to say is Brock Nelson, his Warroad Estates, first hole par 3. It's the only other one I ever heard of. Riggs, where did you play that there was a par 3?
Brook Lake Country Club in New Jersey. My good buddy Mike is a member, so we played there a few times in college and since then when I lived in the New York area. First hole is like 175-yard par 3, a little bit uphill over water. It's actually a pretty intimidating first shot. But then it also got me thinking that I remember when they had the U.S. Open at Congressional, the 10th hole is a par 3 over water when Rory won. And so they would do split tees. It's the same deal at Winged Foot, actually. They would do split tees. So guys would, I mean, it's not the same thing as having your first hole at a country club, but guys would begin their U.S. Open by hitting like, a long iron over water at Congressional to a pretty pretty narrow green. And then that 10th hole at Wingfoot when we were there, Frankie, where like the first hole is a tough par 3 where you're first, you go through your whole warm up and then you got to hit like a accurate iron shot in there as your first swing of the round. It's pretty intense.
It is intense. Yeah, I don't know how much I'd enjoy that because like I need to work into my irons. I always hate my first couple swings being irons. You need big swings because there's just something about you just got to get loose. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Iron swings are so like you got to be dialed in.
Frankie, on the 10th hole of Wingfoot, you hit one of the worst shots and then had maybe put yourself in the most difficult spot on the whole golf course with your second shot. Yes. You remember that? You were
wrong
kind of like
side, yeah.
Right, wrong side on a ridge downhill that you had to hit like a crazy 60 flop to even get it remotely within 100 feet of the hole.
Yeah.
Bladed that thing clear over. And that was a scene.
What a fun game.
That was fun. Good half that was between the two of us,
Really good half.
I guess it didn't surprise me as much when I saw that from Fitz because I feel like over in the UK, it's just more common to have quirky stuff because when those courses that are so old were created, there was no like conventional way, right? Nobody cared. You just kind of did whatever you did. Like the old course standards, they hit over a fucking hotel. It's like nobody cares. Yeah. It's just they just made golf holes out of wherever they could make golf holes, and then it's evolved over here into like everything needs to be a par 72, and you need to have 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s, and over there they're just kind of like, oh, we're just gonna make a golf course out of whatever the fuck we can make a golf course out of. Is this where first hole needs to be a par 3, first hole needs to be a par 3, so it's a little different. But yeah, congratulations to Fitz. Imagine starting your round with an ace.
It's not bad. Not a bad day. First swing, right?
I wonder how many he's got. Probably a whole bunch.
Oof.
Jeez. There's always a lot of pressure.
Over 15?
No, I think he's got 6.
6?
I think he's got 8.
Text him.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna guess he has.
Let me go write these down.
I'm gonna guess 5. I'm gonna go 5.
Oh, so now if he has anything under 5, Riggs wins.
No, we're not doing that.
What do you mean?
It's all or nothing. All right, Frank, you're in for 6. Riggs is in for 5.
Fucked. It's got to be on the money.
I got 15. Come on.
Oh, so I have 6 through 15. Wait, how many does what'd you say?
I said 9. Or I said 8. I'm sorry.
Oh, so
are we saying you got to nail it?
6 or 7 is my only option.
It's going to be such a small number that maybe not a small number, but you have to nail it.
All right, you got to nail it. 5.
All right, Frankie 6, Riggs 5, Lurch 15, Trent 8. How many lifetime hole-in-ones does Matt Fitzpatrick have?
So I texted him and said, "Congrats on the ace!" Exclamation point. How many lifetime is that?
Okay.
Let's see what he says.
Now we sit here in silence until he answers.
Should we do the whole show until he answers, and then it's open ended? We just don't know.
8:23 in London. He's got to be around his phone.
Yeah, he's got to be. Maybe at dinner. Maybe
Could
playing.
Be at dinner. If he's at dinner, he's not responding. He's probably
what dinner do you go to when you're not on your
phone?
On
the table.
Depends who you're with.
He's like 25 years old, dude.
If he's with a family, probably.
I couldn't tell you who could I go out to dinner with that I wouldn't look at my phone. That's a short list.
We're different people than Fitzpatrick. He's
a young guy.
Yeah, but his phone isn't his livelihood.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
But everybody, even people.
No, what do you mean?
Even people that I know who don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's like part of your life, though. It's like it's his phone.
Right, but I mean.
Yeah, but you're saying that only people involved with social media are on social media, and that's not the case.
No, not the case at all. But as much as we're going to be on more than he's going to be on.
I think
he's not like a working professional. He's like
You're like above it in that athlete. Like you don't need it. It's like okay.
Social media is very popular among everybody. For the most part.
It is. No, I agree it is. But like, I guess Lurch is saying like you're more inclined when you play golf. Like your actual playing and involvement of your job is way less tied to your phone than almost any other profession.
Tell that to Max Homa.
Oh,
there's definitely going to be exceptions for sure.
Right.
I need Fitzpatrick to respond right now.
I know.
For my argument
Every
to be valid.
second is
I'm not even going to tell you if he responds.
You got to be on the honor system. You
got to be on the honor system.
Honor system. There's no response. I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. No bubbles?
No, I haven't seen a bubble. I would say to give you credit, the last time that I texted him, he responded. He took 55 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
We're going to talk about Brooks's wrist injury for 55 minutes?
Sure.
Let's really break this one down.
It's a bummer, man. What are the chances?
Sucks.
What are the chances?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
dude, makes me scared.
He's got.
Makes me scared. That root, it just looked like he was hitting out of just rough.
It did.
You know, it is a scary thing because, you know, those fucking roots are probably everywhere, man. And we just I don't compress the ball or come down on it ever enough to really get under there. Like if that's me, I'm walking away clean, right? Like we all know.
No problem.
I'm breaking my whole forearm. My whole forearm's going to shatter.
Dude, it does suck, man. Like, we were just gearing up for this match, and Brooks, obviously, who knows now with the Ryder Cup, like, how bad. Has there been any comment by him, like, how bad the injury was? I don't know. All I know is that it got postponed, our match.
I'm pretty sure that he said it was somewhat precautionary.
Which seemed weird to me because, like, if there's a time to gut it out, like, he stood to make a lot of money.
So he doesn't get anything, right, because he withdrew?
No, I think he gets last place money.
Really?
I bet, because the lowest check was.
But when you look at the leaderboard, like, he doesn't finish 30th. He finishes under, like, withdrew, right?
But I would say, like, all the WGCs when guys that have teed it off hit their first tee shot and then just withdrawn because they're guaranteed like $50K or something.
Dude, who did that? Somebody did that really recently.
/WD 395.
Okay, there you go.
So he's still getting his $400,000. So yeah, 30th /WD.
Is that what it is? 395.
Yeah. Well,
that's insane.
I can't say his name, but Neiman.
Joaquin Neiman.
Yeah, there you go. 405 29th. It's like for 10K, he could have just saved himself a couple days and gone on a trip. Yeah. Just been like, you know what? I'm going to get one round in. Doesn't look like it's going my way. And 10K to these guys is not a ton of money. Kind of interesting.
Daniel Berger did that a couple years ago.
What he
hit tee shot and withdrew, and he got $50,000 for it.
No way. I kind of remember that now because I remember making the point about certainly we got U.S. Open tennis going on right now, which has been absolutely fantastic. But there's a big problem in tennis, or there was. Maybe they solved it. But as long as you showed up, you got $50,000, and obviously that's a big check. So individuals would just do that and then show their injury off and then withdraw, and it was brutal for the fan base.
Now, if Daniel Berger knew that, then he's a big douchebag. Like, if he knew that he was just going to do that, or unless he got hurt on the first hole. Because Pat Perez told us that story. Was it Louis Oosthuizen that went up to Pat Perez and was like, who, do I have it wrong?
Well, no, but WGCs, it's not like a full field event. WGCs are just like X amount of guys qualify for it, and that's it. So he wasn't stealing money in theory from anybody else.
Gotcha. Right. I was going to say, if it was a regular event where there was a next man up type situation where Louis Oosthuizen went up to Pat Perez and was like, hey, you can take my spot. I'm probably going to withdraw anyway. And that would be fucked if Daniel Berger went up there, hit one swing, said, see you later, pals. And the guy who just is waiting to get in is watching you fucking take off in your helicopter.
It's why a lot of people bitch about the WGCs because they're just cash grab kind of things that they similar to FedEx Cup, they just throw money at to make feel super important. But guys a lot of guys like a Kevin Kisner or something, he plans his schedule around playing at WGCs because there's more money that's guaranteed. So if he's top 50 in the world rankings, he gets into each WGC, he makes X amount of money no matter what. And he's like, yeah, I'm here to fucking make money, guys. So yeah, they're a little bizarre. No response yet from Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Fuck. God
That's
damn
right.
it.
What else?
I will say, Dave had a very funny tweet about the Brooks thing, saying that they roots don't grow on the fairway.
So good. And then also that fucking clip from the Big
Oh,
Lebowski's.
it's
so
awesome. It's awesome.
It's a shame, man. That's supposed to be happening tomorrow. Today, when this podcast comes out, we're supposed to all be heading over to Liberty National, watching this match between Lefty Brooks and Dave, and now it's all up in the air. I can't believe it, honestly.
Tons of people, too. Like, everywhere I go, it's like, who do you think's going to win that Portnoy Koepka match? And now they're just not going to have it. Like, Liberty National was all fired up for it. They had members ready to go. Tickets were being dished out based on betting on the Barstool Sports book. Like, now it's just not happening. It sucks.
Yeah, we have to reschedule. I mean, we're definitely going to do this at some point. It's too big not to. So, yeah, I was bummed out yesterday when I saw that. It's like the ultimate, because we were gearing up, man. I got the staff bag here. The Dave's bag's looking outrageous from TaylorMade. It's so cool. I mean, like we just have a tour bag in my fucking room right now. All the wedges are dialed in. We got everything's just so ready to go. I was so ready to get to Liberty tomorrow. 1,000 people lining the fairways, which would have been dangerous, but we'll have to figure that out. We have a couple days. We have more time now to figure out the logistics on how to save lives out there.
Do you feel that you now have like more time to practice, or you guys seem like you were ready to go?
We were ready to go, and now Dave's getting into busy season, so we'll see when the hell I mean, Dave Portnoy's schedule during football is outrageous. It's like every single day he's recording something else. College football, BFFs, he's got pro football show, advisors, he's got everything, man. It's nuts. Plus they go away. I think they're going to Michigan next weekend, right? So it's nonstop.
It's a bummer, man.
Yeah. That match will happen, though. I have no doubt.
Yeah, but it could be like, what do you think, like 6 months?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I honestly haven't heard anything about it. I didn't know how bad Brooks's was. And now I'm actually happy that it's only precautionary because I want him to play in the – like, we need Brooks Koepka for the Ryder Cup. I mean, the guy fucking pounds the golf ball.
Oh,
and absolutely. We just need him there for theatrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of storylines if that motherfucker's there. I mean, that makes the whole thing infinitely more interesting. How about them, like, breaking bread last week?
What's that?
How about them, like, breaking bread last week?
But they said they didn't talk. Oh, we didn't talk about this. Brooks's response to what the PGA Tour did, where he sort of understood it, but he also pulled out the line where he's like, "It's sports, it's sports," which is he's not wrong about, but like he's not going to do any. Let me say this: he's not going to do anything to curtail what's going on.
No, he's not doing any favors out there.
Did you see Brooks Koepka's comment when like they were asking him about people chirping him from the crowd, and he's like, the only like they would never say it to my face. The only thing separating us is like a little thin piece of rope or something like that. And it's just like he beat the shit out of them if he saw them in the streets. That's just okay, Brooks. There you go again. It's you being the bully, cool guy that wishes he was a quarterback at his fucking Texas like big college football school. Like Brooks Koepka wishes he was playing for like the Longhorns instead of fucking being out there on the golf course. And you're not. You're a sick golfer. You've always been a nerd. You like a shitty fucking high school sport that people probably made fun of you at, and you're really good at it. And you just have to accept it. You're not beating people up in the streets because they're saying things to you. You're not that tough. Like you're just kind of just Brooks Koepka, and just be Brooks Koepka.
Throughout this Brooks and Bryson thing, I think we're learning way more about Brooks,
big time,
than we thought we were going to learn. He's just sort of like, I don't know how to say it. Frankie just sort of said it, where it's like he wants to be something, but he's stuck inside this other body, this other thing.
Listen to this comment from this guy. Let me be honest. Most of them wouldn't say that stuff if they were in the street right next to me. So, and I know that. But you put a rope in between us and they think it's going to protect them. I just like, hey, it's sports, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. It goes both ways. You just said it's sports about the Brooksy thing. It's sports. Like, they're allowed to say whatever they want. You're not going to go beat them up like some fucking psychomaniac Hulk.
It would be interesting if there was some rule where, like, if you're deemed to have heckled a player, you enter an agreement to, like, fight that player if that player wants to.
I'd be fucked.
Yeah, so Frankie's almost shitting on.
Yeah, but you don't heckle people. Like, there's a difference between chirping a guy here and heckling. So.
Yes.
I think if that's a rule, then you also have to outlaw alcohol at sporting events.
Right.
Because that's where that's coming from.
Also, if you are heckling someone in person, you are some sort of psycho. Also, like
that's what I'm saying.
To let that rip is nuts.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like heckling a human being in person is crazy.
Like, what do they say to these? Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine actually being like, I'm gonna like really roast this guy. Like it's so awkward because it's like, it's quiet. It's like he hears you. Why would you ever want to do that in person? I don't get that. But I mean, just his response was, I gave him the Bill Murray, because it's so, here comes Brooksy. I also was looking for a gif of like someone walking and everyone running for the hills, like, Brooks every time he walks down a street. I just couldn't find the right video.
Bro, that's Omar Little, dude. I'll send it to you right now.
Oh man, I should have done that. I wish I would have texted you. Just people diving into rooms and houses and running away.
I'm gonna send you that gif right now, and you're gonna be mad about it.
Fuck, dude, because that's Brooks. Like, Brooks walking down the street. Oh no, run for the hills. I mean, he would beat the shit out of me, but so would like my mom.
Yeah, but that doesn't. Would your mom beat you up either?
Probably. I don't know, I'm weak as shit.
Mom strength?
Anyone. My girlfriend would beat the shit out. Like, anyone would beat the shit out of me. What are you, nuts?
My girlfriend. Still no response from Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Jesus!
We're just kind of hanging on here, just waiting for old Matthew to text back.
Speaking of my family, I don't know how much longer I can hang on here. It's Labor Day, and like I was telling you guys, my dad, we're here, we're like having a nice time. Everyone's outside in the pool, and it's his only day that he gets to really just be off. Like he's got nothing going on at the restaurant, completely closed. They're listening to music. All I heard downstairs was like, I shot the sheriff, and I went down there and I just fucking hit nope, and I turned off the music, and everyone was like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, I'm about to do a podcast. You guys are listening to music way too loud. So they've been sitting in silence outside just waiting for the show to be over. So for about 2 hours now.
Yeah, it's a good 2 hour show. It's a good 2 hour show.
All right. This is it, man.
I'll just let you guys know what he says.
Okay.
Yeah, unless we all die, like we have another show coming up this week, so we could always just say it.
And at this point, my argument's dead anyway. Like if it would have happened by now, it's just it's over. You know, it's just it's fucking over.
So Thursday we'll be back as always. We're gonna have updates on the Matthew Fitzpatrick situation. We'll also get updates on the golf Twitter tracker community. We had several trackers reached out to us. And I'd like to get a few of them on the show and kind of hear from them because of, obviously, the drama that unfolded last week. A lot of people were suspecting that there was some drama behind the scenes, and I can't think of anybody better to get that information from than the sources themselves. So next show on Thursday, we're going to hear from some very committed folks who run these tracker accounts. We're going to find out what they do, what their life is like, what it was like being under this umbrella of nuclear golf, and get some more information for everyone.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, very excited. Other than that, everybody have a great week. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.